Her name is Catherine, and she always does whatever comes into her head. She wants the marriage she dreams of to take place. These were her main demands. The girl will not come down from the roof until the conditions are met. She does not care if she gets hurt because of it. She is a transmigrator, a girl who has been transported into the world of a light novel, which was distinguished by its banal, cliched plot. Pictures of epic fantasy certainly appeared in everyone's mind. Such a story is remembered for many years. This typical story features a handsome guy with no particular virtues and a girl who is always dreaming. At the same time, secondary characters suffer from unrequited love. They are much better than the main characters, but they are just extras. This type of story is characterized by relationships between the main characters. Fate always brings them together at the expense of the sacrifices of secondary characters. The girl wasted her time on such reading. She was tired of reading how wonderful characters suffer and are left with a broken heart for the sake of the main characters. She lamented for a long time until she looked at herself, her image, for reasons beyond her control. Catherine found herself in her worst nightmare. She found herself in that same shitty story. The girl's life worsened with each passing minute. She did not become that holy heroine. Among all the characters, she got the role of the sister of a minor character in this story. Nothing depends on her. Her rage knows no bounds. She has become part of that very crowd. Every situation has its advantages, and Catherine became rich overnight thanks to her status as the empire's favorite princess. Her happiness did not last long. She quickly got tired of her surroundings. Here she did not have her favorite entertainments. Catherine tried many options to return home, but her first escape was unsuccessful. God did not hear her, and because of her behavior, rumors began to circulate about her insanity. Renunciation of his family didn't help either. The younger brother found her everywhere. The girl has run out of imagination. She no longer has any ideas on how to escape this world. She has only managed to earn the status of a crazy princess. Fate has punished her for reading the whole story. She will stay here for a whole year. She has the advantage of knowing the ending. Catherine can rewrite the entire plot for the better. The secondary characters deserve a happy ending for all their suffering. Catherine is pleased with herself. She quickly came up with a brilliant plan for the birth of a new social unit. She could hardly wait for the moment when she could begin to execute it. The girl knows how to behave so that everything works out. The implementation of the plan should not be so difficult. The operation to charm a minor character has begun. Catherine almost immediately got to the main topic of conversation. Her brother was a good candidate for a groom. This tea party brought surprises for Claire. She was not thinking about marriage. The girl has a wonderful brother. She described all his best qualities. Claire couldn't get a word in edgewise as she listened to how lucky she would be to have such a husband. Catherine came from a wonderful family. No one can compare to them in greatness. The girl has not yet learned all the advantages of this marriage. Little Adam was an example of this royal family. Together they waited for the arrival of a new relative. Because of marriage, Claire will be able to spend her days with such wonderful people. Catherine talked a lot, and for a long time she is too intrusive. Her offer may not be as attractive as she imagined. It was a flattering offer for Claire, but she doesn't quite understand why they came to her. She knows who she is in this world, so a connection between her and the prince is impossible. Catherine reminded him that her brother was the most eligible bachelor on this continent, and that argument would certainly work. Claire couldn't answer. She continued to listen attentively. The crown prince is blessed by the gods, becoming the youngest person to achieve excellence in the field of magic. For Claire, this important detail was missed. Catherine insisted until the very end that they needed a new sister. Adam is too young to take part in the conversation, but he won't go against the second sister. His happiness will know no bounds when a new friend appears. Claire thought about this for a long time. She would like to know the prince's opinion on this matter. They are not hiding anything from her, but the girl senses a catch in this story. The younger ones showed a look of boundless happiness, so they could capture the girl in their nets. Catherine is ready to answer all the questions of her future stepsister. Unfortunately, she heard a refusal. She was unable to attract the girl. This conversation should not go beyond this room. This meeting never happened. The brother and sister came here in vain. They were unable to persuade the girl to marry them. Catherine knows the whole story in advance. She studied the girl's character, so the refusal surprised her. She was supposed to face a kind and gentle heroine, but reality hit her hard. The original plot did not match this story. Something had changed in the girl's life. The princess cannot leave things as they are. Her brother could find himself in a terrible situation if his fate does not change. Catherine would never allow this to happen to him. She would do everything she could. The girl went on about her business, and Adam couldn't keep up with her. He had his own task. He had to speak as nicely as possible. She was prepared for failure. She has a second plan. According to it, the girl must make a bun out of her brother. He will change to charm everyone in his path. Claire watched as the uninvited guests left her house, but her evening didn't end there. They immediately came to her with questions about the arrival of the prince and princess. She was worried about the status of her family. Isaac knows the girl won't have the guts to say anything about them. Gloria will punish the girl if rumors spread across the continent. Claire was still thinking about the arrival of such an important person. She was not worthy of sitting in the same room with them. In the past, her father fell in love with a girl who was not of any noble status. The family was against the marriage with a commoner. They clearly stated their protest. At this point, the father left the family and renounced his inheritance in order to be with his beloved. This marriage had a difficult start, and they had to hide from their family in less than ideal conditions. This did not affect the relationship between them in any way. They lived poorly but happily. The father had to leave home in search of food. He was gone for several days, so his mother went looking for him, but she also did not return. The girl spent her days alone. She was left completely alone. After some time, new people appeared in this hut. The woman condemned this choice in exchange for a family. She always finds something useful anywhere. A painting caught her eye. Its quality left much to be desired, but one could see talent in it. Miranda found more than one painting. There were many of them here. She had seen better paintings, but these could also fetch good money. The woman will not leave the paintings here, and besides, she might capture the fugitives. The child will be used as bait for the fugitive parents. Miranda wasn't going to stand on ceremony with her. This girl was a stranger to her. The little girl had been waiting for her parents all this time. She wanted to see them after she woke up. The woman looked frightening. For the little girl, it was a scary moment. Upon waking up, she was hit for disobedience. She broke the rules in the very first minute. The woman will teach her how to communicate when elders address you. The girl doesn't know where her parents are. They promised to come back for her, but they were gone for too long. The guy searched the area and found no trace of his parents. Those who abandon their relatives will also abandon their own child. These words sank into the child's mind. She couldn't believe that she had been abandoned. Miranda won't wait for her to come to her senses. The paintings interest her most. The girl was the author of these paintings. That was the only thing she could do here. So she had a family. She was given a new name, and at first she was happy to find relatives. In the end, it was clear that this was not her home, but her new prison. She was locked in a remote room and given a large amount of materials to develop her paintings. She was forbidden to draw what she wanted. She did work to order. Claire had to be released to improve the quality of her paintings. Miranda didn't want to lose her source of income. The world was full of terrible things, but her life was much worse. She was bullied by everyone from her family to the servants. She deserved all the suffering for her father's misdeeds. She lived here for many years, but remained a stranger. She was abandoned by her family. No one paid attention to her in her new home, and she continued to remain a stranger among the same common people. Everyone in the area should know about her status, so the prince and princess's proposal does not seem like a salvation for her. Catherine is ready to starve herself if her wish is not fulfilled. Her older brother was given a harsh ultimatum. Her cherished dream is for her older brother to marry a girl he has never seen and whom his sister chose for him. For the sake of this desire, Catherine, and unfortunately Adam, did not eat anything. She must convince her brother to take such a step, otherwise she will have problems. The brother needs time to think everything over. The girl has hope that everything will work out for her. Adam did not hide the fact that he liked Lady Claire, and he answered all questions honestly. He ate a delicious cake at a girl's place, so he remembered her and fell in love with her right away. The prince ate well at the party, so he and his sister can fast a little longer, which he was against. As a reward for all his suffering, Catherine will thank him with the most delicious dishes. Adam will hold out as long as it takes. He was drawn into this situation by accident. Catherine will endure all the torment. Her goal justifies all the means. The reward will be worth it. It was time to begin a new real test, every step of which had been planned in her project. The boy has to do what they want from him. He can't do anything else with his brother and sister. Claire had another meeting with a man from high society. Ryan sat in silence, not knowing what to talk about with the one his relatives had chosen for him. The girl doesn't look like someone who would dare to take advantage of children. He wants to watch her for a little while longer. He broke the silence with an apology. He came here without warning. They decided to arrange an engagement for Claire to the prince. Catherine is very convincing when she insists on something. Ryan knows about the lack of connection between his family and the girl, and he is curious about how they met. It all happened by chance, so there was no connection here, which added even more mystery to the relationship between them. He is ashamed of his relatives. He is worried that they were rude to the girl, that they were too intrusive. Claire understands that a wedding between her and the prince can only be a dream, so she did not take the princess's words seriously. She didn't think much about the proposal until the prince himself asked her about it. Their conversation was interrupted. The servants were too stubborn to hear everything firsthand. The girl was afraid of their behavior in front of the prince. She did not want them to be overheard. She felt ashamed in front of the guy for such disrespect towards him. She was afraid of his reaction. She herself was trembling. Everyone was scared to death because of the unknown. She asked for forgiveness many times until she was stopped. Ryan doesn't want the girl to be afraid of him. He's not a scary person. Claire is worried about her rudeness. His Highness should not be treated like that in her house. It's a shame that the guy wasn't given some kind of refreshing drink after such a mess. He had not yet done anything when pleas for mercy for his misdeed began to be heard. The servants wanted to disappear into thin air, just so they wouldn't be bothered, they wouldn't behave like that again. The guy wants to continue the conversation, so it would be better to send people away. They should not be disturbed. With a snap of his fingers, magical power surrounded the people, which scared the hell out of them. So they were thrown out of the premises. They deserved such rude treatment. It all happened so quickly that before Claire could react, they were left alone. The girl saw such a manifestation of magic for the first time in her life. She saw with her own eyes how talented the guy was. The guy knows for sure that his sister decided to keep quiet about this information. His powers are so incredible that the magical association doubts the veracity of his talents. Claire thought that only gods or dragons could perform magic like this without spells, and not an ordinary person. The prince hadn't seen such a sincere reaction to magic in a long time. It was time for them to continue communicating without apologies. The fact that someone was eavesdropping on them is unpleasant, but it will not happen again due to the impenetrable dome that was created. Ryan would gladly move this conversation to another, more suitable place where no one would dare to disturb them. Isaac is unhappy with the girl's antics for some reason. There were too many high society people in his house in a short period of time. Claire can't tell the truth. She'll have to hide everything so as not to create new problems for His Highness. She needs to hurry. She can't keep the prince waiting for her. Isaac wants to know what the girl is doing with His Highness. She did not answer any of his questions. She had to remain silent. Being ignored by a girl makes a guy angry. Everyone should obey him. He has to remind her of her position in this house. She must respect her elders. Isaac will not allow his family to be disgraced. He is ready to tear with his teeth anyone who dares to harm his loved ones. Claire can't stay late. The servants have upset the prince. If she doesn't come for a long time, his mood will definitely be spoiled. The guy can't respond to this argument. He doesn't want to anger the prince, but he can't be stopped anymore. She continued getting ready, ignoring the guy's lamentations. She was strongly asked not to make a scene with the prince. As with the Duke, she must behave with dignity. Isaac likes to remind him how the Duke threw the girl away, how she built hopes for her future, but everything collapsed in an instant. He constantly shows the girl her place. No one will definitely want to have a serious relationship with her. The girl has good looks, so that she can be kept around. She can't offer anything else. Claire probably saw him as her true love after he saved her from death. Perhaps after this she began to think that she could become someone great in this world, that she could be a duchess. The Duke seemed to be laughing at her for her absurd talk of eternal love. It was a hard time for the girl. The reminder of it cut her heart. She did not intend to hear this humiliation anymore. She couldn't do anything against the guy. He was above her in every sense and wasn't going to tolerate her disrespect for him. Isaac will not allow her to rise just because the prince addressed her person. He will teach her manners using physical force. He wanted to continue the lesson, but he was distracted. The man could not wait any longer. He reminded him of the prince's expectation. He could not delay any longer. The girl was ready to go. She again showed disrespect to His Highness. She is waiting for the consequences for her lateness. Claire moves quickly so that the prince doesn't have to stand for too long. She heard insults flying at her back. She was used to being considered a useless person in this house. She couldn't make the prince wait for her. That was more important than any insults. Meanwhile, Catherine learned that her sister would be coming to visit her, so she could have a proper meal after her hunger strike. Claire apologized for being late. She tried to be quick, but circumstances were stronger than her. Ryan didn't see anything wrong with this until he noticed one detail. Fresh marks of beatings were clearly visible on the girl's face. She didn't think that they needed to be hidden. Ryan definitely recognized the mark from the blow. They were hiding something from him, even though he heard that the girl was okay. He understands that he is being urged not to interfere in her life, but the guy cannot ignore this trauma. Claire was ashamed. She didn't think that she couldn't appear in front of the prince in such a state. She couldn't say anything. Ryan specifically chose a day when the main people weren't at her house so that there wouldn't be rumors. He would find whoever did it. The guy was timing how long it took the girl to get ready, so he understands that someone was next to her. The prince's first thought was of Isaac, who seemed like a bad person from the very beginning. Claire remained silent, unable to hide her surprise when the conversation turned to Isaac, with whom Ryan wanted to speak privately. The girl doesn't want anyone to stand up for her. This situation needs to be forgotten. She can cover up the trace so that there are no reminders of it. The guy wasn't worried about the mark from the blow itself, but about the fact that someone dared to raise a hand against her when no one dared to use brute force against girls. Claire asked him to forget about it. She didn't need any extra problems with her family. Ryan doesn't understand why the girl is protecting this man, but he can't do anything about it. He will do as the girl wants. Claire is grateful to him for this silence. They did not talk in the carriage. Each was lost in his own thoughts, pondering his own life. The guy is worried about her. He thinks about the wound that should hurt, but it seems that his companion is used to such sensations. Perhaps she endures all this because of the prince's presence, because one can never get used to constant beatings. Upon arrival, he will help the girl heal her wounds after dealing with his sister's whims. He will never see her again in any case. The road was not easy. For some reason, the carriage could not continue moving. It hit something. The heroes in the carriage were not prepared for the sudden stop. They could have been injured by the sudden jolt. As a result, the carriage overturned after this. Few will remain safe, and sound new wounds are inevitable. The prince's guards did not have time to react because of their mistake. They could have lost His Highness. The guy was fine. Thanks to magic, he was able to protect both himself and the girl. Ryan continued to cast his spell, using magic to move the carriage out of the way so that it could be examined. He was worried about the girl's condition. She was unable to speak immediately due to the shock she had experienced. The servants came running as quickly as possible. They reported the wheel had come off, so they carefully checked all the circumstances of this accident. They did not carry out the checks properly before departure, which could have led to this turn of events. Upon return, everyone will be interrogated, the offender will be found and punished. The girl's legs didn't obey her. She couldn't stand normally and kept falling. Ryan is worried about his companion, but she was not injured, and Claire was not harmed in the carriage. Her legs gave way, and she found it difficult to move due to the shock she had experienced. The prince himself was also not injured. Such an accident will not cause him problems. The servants will find new transport as soon as possible. They must not linger in the middle of the forest. The guy is ready to arrange a short rest so that Claire can recover from what happened this time is important for her condition. The girl did not bother the men while they were sorting out the carriage. She decided to take a walk through the forest and enjoy its beauty. For some reason, the carriage wheel fell off, and everyone inside could have died from the impact, but thanks to the prince's magic, no one was hurt. She half heard the conversation between the servants and the prince, but did not go into details. She could not help here. Everyone was busy with this incident. She needed to find a quiet place to make sure she wouldn't disturb anyone. By chance, she came across a strange structure in the middle of the forest. In it, the girl saw an unfinished temple. Its location was illogical to her. Ryan confirmed that there will be a magnificent temple in the Empire. He himself understands how unusual this building is in his native lands. It had to be done to strengthen ties with the Holy Kingdom. According to him, the temple will be ready in 2 years and will open its doors to everyone. From the very beginning, the Kaji Empire had a difficult relationship with the Holy Kingdom, and war between them could break out at any moment. The girl spent a lot of time locked up, and because of this, the realities of the world that opened up to her turned her life upside down. Recently, he had problems with an artist whose paintings were supposed to decorate the walls of the temple and who dared to refuse the noble people. All her life, the girl drew at someone's behest. She had no idea that she could refuse it if she didn't like it. Claire realizes that this artist is an incredible person, since the kingdom values his work and seeks ways to form a connection between them. The guy has little understanding of art, so he doesn't understand why everyone is thanking that artist so much. At this point, their conversation came to an end. The carriage was found. They needed to move on to the palace. Meanwhile, Catherine and Adam believed in love at first sight between the prince and his sister. The girl had never left her home, and the beauty of this place amazed her. She rushed from one window to another, trying to see every detail. Ryan enjoyed watching her reaction and didn't bother her for a while. During this trip, he finally saw a new emotion in the girl. The guy will remember her in this image. Claire, for her own reasons, chose not to see one of the palace's best views. She may regret it, but she stood firm until the end. The girl does not give up on her decisions. She was consumed by thoughts that there was a possibility that she would never appear here again, so she couldn't refuse such an opportunity. Claire won't feel ashamed for long, so she might as well change her mind while she still has the chance. The girl had good reason to abandon her previous idea. She would have regretted it if she had not seen such beauty. The palace is beautiful, and they did a good job on its appearance. She couldn't take her eyes off this picture. Claire had never seen anything more beautiful. The guy is glad that the girl liked the palace. It wasn't in vain that he tried to persuade her to change her mind. Soon their trip came to an end, and Ryan showed all the formalities of etiquette to the girl. The brother and sister immediately rushed outside to see the new family member. Claire was nearly knocked off her feet, but she barely managed to stay upright and not fall with them. The guy helped her cope with such pressure. He protected her from a hard fall. He scolded the kids for attacking the girl so abruptly, and they could have hurt her. The girl was protected from the kids. She didn't have to say anything to defend her boundaries. Catherine watched with pleasure the behavior of her second brother, how he defended his woman. She had many thoughts that needed to be discussed with her older brother. She should remember all the topics for the conversation they need to go to the palace so that no one disturbs them. On the way to the palace, the younger ones discussed plans for the girl and how they would go for a walk as a family. Adam didn't have the strength to keep up with his elders, but for all his efforts, he was allowed to rest in their arms. Such a warm family atmosphere was unknown to Claire. She had never felt anything like it. She was used to always being the odd one out, so now she didn't interfere with the family spending time together. The girl lagged behind, not making a mark. She thought that they had forgotten about her, but this was not so. The family stopped when they didn't see Claire nearby. They wouldn't go anywhere without her. Ryan had one request for the girl. He wanted her to go out with Catherine and Adam before he got torn apart. Adam personally asked the girl to go after them. For him, it would be the best gift. Catherine didn't yet know that this was her last meeting with the girl, while she could still enjoy time together with her. Claire came here to finish this whole story, after which they shouldn't try to connect her with the prince. There is no need to think about it for now. Now they should enjoy this moment. They decided to discuss everything at one table. The guy started with Catherine's impulsive behavior. Catherine had no intention of discussing herself while the girl had a fresh bruise on her face. Adam was deeply hurt by this wound and wanted to help his little sister stop feeling pain. The girl wasn't worried about herself, so the others should forget about this trifle too. Catherine will not give in to these persuasions. She will not allow anyone to offend her little sister. The prince had nothing to do with this. The youngest will not rest until she finds out everything. She knows for sure that these are marks from a blow, so her anger knew no bounds. Claire couldn't stop her rage. She didn't ask for help. She didn't need any of this. Catherine is sure that the same duke who dared to offend her in the past is responsible for the beatings. The girl was surprised when the conversation turned to the duke and her relationship with him, which had not happened in reality for a long time. My sister said too much. She should have kept her mouth shut. Now Claire sees even more pity in herself, because of which they decided to use her for an incomprehensible plan. She was easy prey. Catherine stepped on the girl's sore spot. She instantly felt ashamed. She did not want to offend her. Claire instantly changed, became darker than a cloud. There was no point in asking someone like her for forgiveness for her behavior. She told everyone the reason for her arrival. The girl doesn't want anyone to try to connect her with the second prince. She needs to return home. The guy didn't think of her as his life partner, so he, like the girl, shouldn't be bothered about this. Catherine and Adam need to stop calling her sister. She is not part of their family and never will be. It will hurt her, but it's worth doing. You need to cut off all the connections that arise so that things don't get much worse later. Catherine broke down inside. Everything she did was in vain. She remained silent for a while, all thoughts leaving her. The girl left the room as quickly as she could. No one had time to stop her. Adam's heart is broken. He failed to win the girl's heart. She didn't like him. Claire made no secret of her affection for him, and she also liked the princess. But she had to go. This little connection will be a little secret between her and the prince. Ryan liked the girl's work, and thanks to her communication with the prince, he was able to avoid a scandal. She is ashamed of all the problems she caused this family, but rather the princes and princess were the problematic ones. Claire wants to go home as soon as possible, but she can't do it before the priest arrives. They didn't let her go with the beatings. The priest's magic helped to get rid of all traces of the assault. Now she was fine. No one could tell what she had been through today. Along with the bruise, the girl's pain disappeared. This divine power had always been hidden from her. The guy doesn't like his relationship with the Holy Kingdom, but thanks to it, he can help those who really need it. Claire never worried about bruises as much as everyone else around her did. Adam didn't want to let the girl go. He couldn't stop her no matter what he did. Ryan stopped the little prince. They needed to move on, and he stayed in a safe place. It was hard for Claire to leave him alone, but it was the right thing to do. She had no place in this palace. The girl replayed their conversation in her head, no matter how much she didn't want to do it. She insistently asked them to leave her, as her status would bring them a lot of problems. It was a difficult conversation and a difficult decision, but it will be better for everyone. They should not meet anymore. Together they headed to the carriage. The girl wants to go home alone. Before saying goodbye, Ryan wanted to apologize for his younger sister's behavior and her stupid idea. They could have had a good conversation with each other, but they were interrupted by some strange shouting in the street. The picture that opened up shocked them. They could not imagine that the meeting would end like this. Catherine climbed onto the roof of the palace to be heard, a desperate attempt to establish communication. She demands that the marriage between Catherine and Ryan take place. The girl will not come down to earth until she hears consent. This madness scared the boys. They don't know how to get the baby down from the roof. Everyone in the yard stopped working and looked after the princess, thinking about how to save her. Claire knows Ryan can do something, and with his magic they won't have to wait long for help. She would gladly do something herself, but she did not have the ability for such a thing. The girl believes in the powers of the prince. In this place, the boy's powers are limited due to hundreds of seals that were created to protect the imperial family. He may break them, but that could cause bigger problems in the future. Ryan didn't suspect that his sister was so crazy about the ideas that came into her head. He demands that she come down. His persuasion didn't work on the girl, and soon he wasn't the only one trying to get through to her. Mother ran into the yard as soon as the news reached her. She could not stay away. The guy called her here so that she could persuade her daughter to go down on her butt without incident. The prince was made to blame for this situation, so he must sort it out on his own. He had no other choice but to use magic to break the seals. He is responsible for his sister's life and cannot be distracted by unnecessary conversations. Claire wants to make sure that a small scandal doesn't ruin the reputation of such a wonderful person. A little embarrassment won't affect him. He's scared of what the girl has planned. Catherine respects Claire, but she is not going to participate in the negotiations. The girl only wants to hear one answer. Ryan wanted to interject, but he heard something he definitely wasn't prepared for. The girl is ready to do as the princess wants. She will marry the prince. The girl's trick was successful. She knows how to achieve her goal. The guy was calmly drinking tea, while the girl was gnawing at herself from the inside. She was forced to commit a rash act. Rachel thought about what happened for a long time. She must get to know the girl who decided to marry her son. Meanwhile, Adam, due to his age, was not allowed to participate in adult conversations. He wanted to see his little sister. Claire was at a loss, unable to speak properly under such pressure, and Catherine came to her defense. They will soon become one family, so the woman should watch her language in front of her future relatives. The girl, unlike Catherine, never had the idea of arguing with her mother. The princess always said what she wanted. Rachel was worried. She agreed with her daughter, so she would restrain herself from now on. Claire would have been beaten half to death for such communication with her mother, but here everyone gets away with it. Rachel was renowned across the continent for her beauty. No one could match her. No one could resist her. Not everyone can tolerate her cold character, but only with her children did she become a different person. Catherine was waiting for the moment when they could discuss all the details of the upcoming ceremony. This matter could not be postponed. The guy wasn't going to discuss it. He hadn't made a decision on it yet. The girl knows that her brother won't be able to refuse after everything she's done. Ryan avoided contact with his mother. He didn't want to be there. The atmosphere was getting tense. Nothing will stop Catherine from climbing onto the roof again. She is ready to do anything to make sure this marriage takes place. The guy was up to his neck in work due to the upcoming national holiday, and it would be difficult for him to find a free slot. He would like to get to know Claire better so that he can be sure of her before marrying her. Catherine had completely forgotten that this couple had only met today, that they didn't know each other at all. She thought about her brother's proposal. All his words were logical. Ryan was worried. He didn't know what else his sister might do if she heard the wrong answer. In the end, she supported his idea of communication together. She is ready to arrange a couple of dates for them so that they can be alone. There are many options for how they can spend time together. Various festivals are taking place right now, and they can go boating. The sister imagined the two kissing, a necessary step before the wedding. The couple didn't think about such details. Catherine was already happy for them. She wants her brother to accompany Claire to the foundation day so that everyone in the area knows about their engagement. The girl had no intention of rushing into making announcements, but everything had been decided for her. Catherine could not be stopped. The foundation banquet is the biggest event of the year for the nobility, drawing a large crowd to allow for major announcements. After such an event, she will not be able to escape. Her fate will be decided. Claire's fate was sealed by people she didn't really know, her faith in escape fading with each passing second. Catherine can't be stopped. She has their entire future mapped out. Ryan wants to talk to the girl alone, since everything has been decided for them and nothing can be changed. They found themselves in a situation where nothing depended on them, and they felt uncomfortable being together after everything that had happened. Claire wants to find another way. She is sorry for all the inconvenience caused by her hasty action. The prince was worried about the girl's status because of the breakup with the prince. She would be labeled as an ex. Ryan was worried that once this situation was resolved, the girl would not be able to marry a worthy man. He need not worry about this, since everything has already been decided. Claire doesn't plan to get married. The brand will help her avoid unnecessary contacts. No one will be able to give her away against her will. The guy didn't think about the difficult fate of his interlocutor. He thinks that Claire still loves the Duke, so she can't be with anyone but him, the real one. Claire suspected that this was what they would think of her when the Duke's name was mentioned during tea. The prince heard rumors that the girl was the Duke's mistress, and that he had rejected her. The girl doesn't worry when she's asked questions about the Duke over the years. She's gotten used to it. The Duke left her, but it didn't affect her feelings for him. She can't forget him. He was associated with both the happiest and the most painful memories, and she couldn't let him go. Claire is unlikely to be able to love anyone else after meeting the Duke. He has settled in her heart forever. Ryan is embarrassed to hear such a confession from the girl he is supposed to marry. The girl looks pathetic after such a confession. She was abandoned for another. She shouldn't cry. Tears will make the situation worse. Claire can't cause any more problems for the prince. He shouldn't worry about the girl and her future life with her partner. The guy did not leave his mistress. He was worried about her well-being. He couldn't afford to let the young girl go alone at such a late hour. The guy was responsible for her, so he would keep her company. She wouldn't mind spending a little more time with such a charming partner. The couple was prevented from enjoying each other's company. The guy was against his woman spending time with anyone other than him. He will not allow the prince to approach his beautiful lady. Richard is ready to fight to defend her honor. Catherine rewrote the plot. She will not allow the Duke to enjoy his life. He was not someone special. His help during the war did not make him an all-time hero. The girl cannot allow the holy woman, the main character, and the Duke to destroy her beloved couple. Their mere appearance could ruin everything. The princess was busy developing the script for so long that she didn't notice her brother falling asleep. It was already too late. Catherine felt at ease with her loved one. She would always be with him. She wants to believe that her sister got home safe and sound despite the late hour. The couple looked strange after their private conversation. The atmosphere between them changed. The girl watched their behavior closely. She couldn't stop Claire from telling her a little more about her brother. She set herself another goal: to find the one who dared to raise his hand against a defenseless person. Catherine thought of an original protagonist who could take new actions in this story. The princess will make anyone who beats women suffer. He will not be able to escape her wrath. She knows how to take revenge on him, but in this story, the girl did not have the opportunity to do it. Catherine had been sitting over the script for too long. Her head was slowly ceasing to work. She had run out of strength. The girl did many things every day for this marriage, but did not achieve the main thing. The main goal of the story is to make Claire the happiest in the world. She deserves it for all the suffering in her life. She began to think that she was not trying for Claire, and that everything needed to be left as it was in the original story. She didn't know what to do next to achieve a happy ending for the person close to her. Catherine will definitely come up with something to make her little sister stop suffering because of one goat. You can't calmly watch Claire get upset over a man who didn't care about her in any of her conditions. Claire shouldn't die at the end of this story. She deserved a better ending. Catherine is ready to die herself to prevent this from happening with her own hands. She creates a happy ending for someone who deserves it. The next day, Miranda noticed changes in the girl's face. Isaac used brute force against Claire again, and he made no secret of the fact that he was responsible for it. He won't let the girl walk around with a clean face. The guy clearly showed her where her well-deserved place is. Claire didn't answer. She knew her word was worth nothing here. Miranda wasn't worried about the girl's beatings. She wanted to know how many paintings had been prepared during that time. The girl couldn't answer. She hadn't touched a brush for a long time. The woman is slowly getting angry because of the girl's silence. She needs a specific number of paintings. She became angry when she found out that the girl had done nothing. Not a single painting was ready. Isaac wasn't surprised by this turn of events for him. It was another reason to show her who she really was. The girl had a large order pending. Failure to fulfill it could lead to problems. Claire promises to do everything as quickly as possible. Miranda gives her 3 days to work. The girl will not get more. Claire won't be able to do everything in that amount of time. No one will listen to her, and arguing is useless. Isaac sees that the girl has become proud after meeting the princes and princess. She needs to be taught a lesson. The guy is offended that the girl has not learned anything after the incident with the Duke, that her brains have not increased. She might be locked in the attic again as a lesson to remember who she is in this world. Someone appeared in the room who would no longer allow the girl in this family to be offended. Adam quickly found the person who allowed himself to touch his little sister. Claire didn't understand where the prince and princess came from. She didn't know the reason for their arrival. Catherine had been holding herself back for the entire trip here, but now she could let her rage out. She attacked Isaac. He needs to experience firsthand what it's like to be beaten. The women of the family could do nothing. They stood aside and watched quietly. Adam will remember the image of his furious sister. For a long time he began to fear her. There was no stopping Catherine. She would rip out all the guy's hair so that he would hear her. Claire couldn't let her continue the attack. A princess shouldn't behave like that, but she didn't think about it. The girl could hardly restrain her urge to rush again. Catherine wanted to achieve justice. Isaac was used to bullying the weak, and for the first time he learned firsthand how victims felt. Catherine continued to fight, and Claire didn't have enough strength to pull her away and calm her down. Adam managed to shout to his sister. It was painful for him to see her in such a state. He taught the princess that hitting people was wrong, no matter what they did, but Catherine could not answer his arguments. The girl came to her senses after her brother's words. She didn't want to fall in his eyes. Isaac was lucky that she listened to her brother. He got off with a slight fright. Miranda decided to teach him a lesson herself. She added a slap to teach him a lesson. The boy didn't expect that his grandmother could raise her hand against him when he wasn't to blame for what was happening. The woman made him ask for forgiveness from Her Highness. They will not behave like this anymore. Miranda will never forget the princess's kindness. If they are forgiven, after that she will teach her grandson manners. Catherine just needed to talk to someone older in the family. The woman did not hide her status in this family. She was the head of this house. The princess conveyed to her a message that from now on, Claire was part of her family, so they no longer had anything to do with her. The girl has become part of a new family where she is valued and protected, and she will no longer be alone. There is nothing more for them to do here. They can return to their new home with a new life. Catherine still hasn't calmed down, but because of the people around her, she will restrain herself so as not to disappoint them. Claire didn't hide how pleased she was that they stood up for her, that they wanted to get her out of this nasty place. The princess demanded that a carriage be prepared for them. A bunch of priests would be waiting for them in the palace, especially for the new sister. The girl's enthusiasm flared up with renewed vigor at the mere thought of what Claire had to endure in this house. After some time, they went back to the palace without incident. No one fought anymore. Catherine continued to sulk. She was not allowed to kill this animal when she dreamed about it. She did nothing wrong. The princess protected her family. For this she should be thanked, not scolded. This is the first time Claire has found herself in a situation where someone has been angered by her bullies, and she is pleased to know that someone is willing to fight for her. The girl was momentarily frightened by the princess, but she was still grateful for her help. From now on, Catherine will always protect her sister. She will no longer be that sweet girl that everyone will never stop fearing her. Claire isn't that nice, but she likes having the princess yell for her. The children are ready to do everything to make Claire feel safe with them. She can forget about her problems. The girl was lucky to stumble upon such a diamond in her life for some strange reason. Luck was on her side. Catherine quickly put all the troubles aside. New adventures and new things to do in the palace awaited them. Claire didn't argue with her, but she began to have doubts about the correctness of the decisions she had made. She believes that she needs to return home, explain herself to her grandmother, and stay there. This marriage was of no use to her. From now on, Claire belongs to a new family. She must forget about the old one, no matter how difficult it may be. The princess is not going to listen to anything from her. She has made a decision that is not up for discussion. They will live together. The only princess on the continent cannot let go of a commoner for some strange reason. Claire can't be involved with them in any way because of her status. She will only cause them problems. They had never met. They didn't know each other by sight, but the princess was kind to her and knew everything about Claire's life. The princess was asked a question about their meetings in the past, which left her stumped. Adam knows everything. He can tell all the details himself so that there are no more questions. He couldn't be allowed to blab. Claire managed to shut him up before he said anything unnecessary. Claire had no idea what her brother was talking about. She tried to hide her nervousness. She may not answer the question that causes her so much inconvenience. They will not be asked anymore. The princess may use a little lie to resolve the situation, but she doesn't want to lie to someone close to her. Catherine can't tell everything right now. There will come a time when the secret will become clear. She asks her sister to wait a little longer so that she can tell everything that is being hidden from her. A girl can easily be left without the truth. You don't necessarily have to justify yourself to her. You can lie to her. The princess is uncomfortable. She tries to befriend the girl, to form a bond between them, but the secrets between them make everything worse. Claire owes her life to them. In the short time they've been together, they've pulled her out of hell, so she's willing to wait until they can discuss everything honestly. Catherine was worried about the girl in vain. Her heart was touched by her sister's speech. The girl's kind heart cannot be described in words. The princess is grateful for her understanding. They became even closer. She warns that Adam should not be trusted. He definitely does not know the truth that needs to be told. The girl liked to watch the squabbles between her brother and sister. This atmosphere gave her peace of mind. At this time, the Duke had a lot to do and could not be distracted by unnecessary conversations. Despite this, they still came to him to discuss the latest news, which Richard does not follow. He does not have time for it. It wasn't about the saint. The story was much more interesting. Richard couldn't imagine who they were talking about. He hadn't heard from Claire since their last meeting. She couldn't live without him. He was not interested in the rumors circulating about the girl. They did not concern him, but the marriage between the girl and the crown prince. Richard is not going to believe this nonsense, because the girl was obsessed with him. She could not switch to someone else. His friend happily imagined the picture of the Duke worshipping his ex, who had acquired a new high status. Richard always looks for some meaning in rumors, no matter how crazy they are. He doesn't want to waste time discussing his ex. The guy wants to be alone so that he won't be distracted. The friend sees no reason to worry when the Duke is infatuated with the saint. His ex should not take away his attention. When Richard was left alone, he could not start work for a long time. His head was filled with thoughts of ridiculous rumors. In the past, Claire was happy to spend time with the Duke. She enjoyed every moment. At some point, her behavior aroused his sympathy. Over time, he got tired of spending time with someone who had lost herself next to him. The girl ceased to be a separate person. He kept her close to him for personal gain, but when the girl started causing more problems, the guy got rid of her. He didn't care about her feelings. He had no intention of reciprocating her feelings, and he easily left her alone in this world. These words hurt Claire more than any weapon. Her heart was broken. She did not want to continue living without him. Richard doesn't understand why he keeps thinking about the girl who lost her mind because of him. Perhaps he remembered her because of the lies she told him about her undying love for him throughout their relationship. Claire is not important to him. The guy was hurt by the thought that such a girl could deceive him. Catherine and Adam were beaming with happiness. They had a new family member and were now living in the same house. The guy has to take a break from his work because his family calls, and he does this to hear important details, not for a simple conversation. The girl is waiting for his return. He should spend a lot of time with Claire, but he cannot rush to them because of urgent business. The princess wants to know the exact time when her brother will return home. She doesn't care about the guy's problems. Ryan will be back as soon as he can. That's all he can say. He has guests, so the conversation cannot continue, but they do not let him go. His sister stops him. She told him that from today on, Claire would live with them. It should be their shared joy. The brother didn't expect that this would happen so soon and without his knowledge. Catherine decided not to put this moment off until later, when Claire would have moved in with them anyway. She needed to start training her. She wants to find support in the face of a girl when her brother began to condemn her for thoughtless actions, when she needed to discuss everything with an adult. Ryan saw a new bruise on the girl's face. He was disappointed that that man, Isaac, raised his hand against her again. The girl didn't want to draw attention to it. She forgot to hide it and caused a corresponding reaction. Catherine showed her brother how angry she was when she found this man. She cannot forgive this animal for everything he did to her sister. The guy agreed with her. He did not hold back in his expressions and called him by his name. Around little Adam, they have to filter their speech. He immediately repeats all their words without understanding their meaning. Ryan has come up with a way to punish this terrible man, so his sister should not interfere with it to avoid problems. Catherine has done everything a long time ago. She is proud that she was able to stand up for her loved one. Upon arrival, she called the priests, but they were still not there soon. The girl would burst with anger. Claire stayed out of the family's disputes until she was approached. The guy wants to know that no one is bothering the girl, that she feels good in the palace. He knows how mean his little sister can be, so he worries about Claire. Adam will protect the girl from the princess. He has switched sides against his sister. This is where their conversation should end. Ryan needs to go on important business. Claire can always tell the guy if she suddenly feels bad here. Help will always come to her. The prince wants to see the girl's pure face the next time they meet. She should be lit up by a smile. The girl remembered his words. She was pleased by such excitement about her person. She felt new. That night, Catherine had no worries and was finally able to sleep soundly. Claire felt a connection with them and wanted to respond with the same care. In the middle of the night, a woman came to Claire. The reason for her visit was unknown. She didn't come here for her brother and sister. She wanted the girl herself. Claire was informed that she was expecting a meeting with Her Majesty the Empress and that they wanted to talk to her. The girl was not given time to change. She was immediately taken to the negotiation room. She was thinking about escaping, and on the way she came across a whole collection of paintings. It was difficult for her to count them. At some point, she broke away from the woman. She became interested in the empty frames on the walls of the palace. The woman insistently asks her not to stop. They cannot make the Empress wait for them. The Empress looks gorgeous. Just looking at her gives you goosebumps. Claire doesn't know how to behave in his presence. She will do whatever she is told. She is like a cornered animal in a cage with a predator. The girl herself can understand the reason why she was urgently called here. Mary knows about the marriage that must take place at the insistence of the princess, but all this is unrealistic. It should not go beyond the palace. The girl must wait a little until Catherine gets tired of this game and the wedding is no longer necessary. She will get a reward for the inconvenience, but Claire is to blame for some things herself. She is not so innocent. The Empress loves to be honest, so they need to take some time to sort out the problem so that they can live peacefully from now on. Claire understands everything and accepts this reality, but she finds it difficult to come to terms with this idea. At this point, the conversation ended. The girl could return to her chambers. The girl wouldn't be able to fall asleep right away after this meeting, so she decided to take a little walk to clear her head. The weather here was wonderful, and a light breeze helped her clear her head of unnecessary thoughts. In the past, she spent her time alone in the closet creating paintings, but now she can enjoy her time in the palace. She replayed the Empress's words. For some reason they touched her, when she knows that everything said is true. This situation arose because of the princess's desire. She always gets what she wants. This story won't go on forever. Catherine might get tired of messing around with Claire. As the Empress said, she will return to where she came from. Claire has no prospect of happiness with her beloved anyway, so it's better this way. The girl will be able to free herself from her grandmother's shackles when she receives the Empress's award, and she will become closer to her dream. She imagined a future that she could build herself, but her legs gave out. Claire felt unbearable pain, as if these were the last minutes of her life. The girl began to treat Adam like family. It would be difficult for her to live without his smile. She became attached to the princess, who is always restless and causes all sorts of trouble. Claire can't go back to her old life where she has nothing, but here she feels a sense of happiness. Upon returning home, Ryan found the girl in a broken state. The girl started making up various excuses so that the guy wouldn't worry about her mental state. He saw her tears with his own eyes, so he is not going to believe her words. Claire is worried that rumors will spread about her strange behavior on the street at night. Ryan wasn't going to leave without talking to the girl. He was curious about what she was looking at. She was interested in the reason why the guy did not go about his business, but joined her. She received the answer that it was better not to leave the girl alone in the middle of the street at night. The prince understands that the palace cannot be 100% safe, so he does not want to leave her alone. It was a joke, but he still won't leave. The guy wants to spend some time with her. Claire doesn't want to appear weak in front of him, doesn't want to cause him problems. Ryan felt hurt to hear the girl ask him to leave her. He began to think that the girl didn't like him, that she didn't like being around him, but that wasn't what she meant. The guy calmed down when the girl began to convince him otherwise. This allowed him to help Claire get to her quarters with a clear conscience. He asks her to calm down before they fall. This is his way of showing his concern for her. Claire must put up with his little prank, no matter how difficult it may be. The girl did not argue with him. She let go of her emotions and allowed herself to relax a little. She felt awkward about the conversation that took place last night. She said a lot of unnecessary things. The words that she could never love anyone else were definitely stuck in the guy's head, and they could have hurt him. Claire shouldn't have dumped all her feelings on him, on a stranger. Ryan definitely felt awkward about the girl's frankness. It's interesting that after all the rumors and talk he thinks about the girl, he treats her too well. The guy asked her for forgiveness for yesterday. He was ashamed of his words. The girl didn't expect this. She blamed herself, not suspecting that the guy was doing this. He was worried that he might hurt the girl's feelings, that he reminded her of her worst times. Ryan wanted to apologize right away, but he couldn't do it. The prince was thinking of discussing their engagement when a shout in the street distracted them. The servants went around the entire imperial court in search of the prince. They were glad to find him. This news must be reported to the princess. The guy let Claire go for a while to avoid misunderstandings. Catherine pushed everyone aside to look at her brat of a brother who was doing who knows what. From the outside, Claire and Ryan looked like a loving couple who were prevented from spending time together. The princess did not expect to see such a picture. She paused for a moment, processing all the information. Her happiness knew no bounds. She was so glad that her loved ones had a date. The couple had to lie to her so as not to upset the princess. They would be able to save face. The next morning, Catherine didn't hide the fact that she knew everything, and against this background, she developed a brutal appetite. Claire remained silent. She would never ruin this idol. The princess watched the girl for a long time. After what she saw that night, she could not leave her. It was impossible to tear yourself away from her. Catherine followed the developments. Now she could fill her belly with delicious food while everything was developing the way she wanted. Claire doesn't believe that her walk with the prince could have made the princess so happy. Catherine knew no bounds in her happiness and wanted to thank everyone along the way. The girl decided not to ask unnecessary questions. She needed to figure out how to eat properly at such a table. Claire hasn't been taught etiquette, so she can't eat properly without further embarrassment. Adam wanted to help her. He couldn't look at his hungry sister. Thanks to him, she had the chance to try new dishes. He saw how much the girl liked the food. The prince was ready to feed her all morning. The girl should eat well. The guy wanted her to try every dish on this table. There were many different dishes in front of Claire. She should not deny herself the pleasure of eating deliciously. She needs to stop paying attention to strangers. Let the servants laugh at her when she is happy. The brother and sister will be pleased when the girl develops a normal appetite. They were having a good time together, talking, until they were interrupted. Catherine was not happy to see him. Nothing remained of her happy mood. A man she had heard about but seen for the first time wanted to talk to Claire. The third prince of the empire decided to join him. Henry was happy to appear in all his glory. The girl looked much better than the guy imagined. She was charming. He is always ready to replace his older brother if his relationship with Claire doesn't work out. His candidacy is no worse than his older brother. Henry would like to stand next to such a wonderful girl. The guy continued talking despite the food flying towards him. Nothing could distract him from the girl. Catherine won't let another guy near her little sister when she belongs to someone else. Claire didn't know how to communicate with another world-famous brother. The third prince is known as the Guardian of the North, protecting the continent from countless monsters. Henry always finds his target. No monster could escape his blow. The girl heard that they said that this prince was even more famous than the crown prince. She expected to see something different in him. The guy likes to watch Catherine angry. She is cute in this form. He rarely manages to bring her to this state. Henry is pleased to finally meet the girl. He is the eldest relative of these children. He is the younger brother of the prince Claire is dating and whose place he would like to be in. The guy stays in the palace until the day of its foundation. They will have time to establish contact with each other. The guy ignored his sister's attacks and continued flirting with the girl as if nothing had happened. Henry knows his sister well, so he easily dodges all her attacks. She will not be able to get to him. He hadn't come home for a long time. He expected a warmer welcome. Catherine couldn't calm down because of his insolence. Claire finds herself in the worst situation, in the middle of a family quarrel. Catherine will not allow Henry to continue communicating with the girl she is protecting her for the sake of her beloved brother. He was hurt by his sister's words that he had no business here, that he didn't come here often enough for them to start chasing him away. He's ready to forgive her for the sisterly kiss. He better leave before Catherine goes off the chain. Claire has never seen Catherine be so cruel to her brother. She talks to him like an enemy. Henry found one girl among the girls who was genuinely glad to see him. Adam was not going to stand by while his beloved brother was being bullied. They missed each other. The princess was betrayed by her ally. She will not let it go so easily. Henry has been taking care of the baby. He wants him to get back into shape after his sister's hunger strike. Catherine is sure that her brother must have some business to attend to, and she is waiting for him to leave to do it. The guy completely changed his schedule to make time for his family. He's not going anywhere. He wanted to know everything that had happened during his absence, and he was more concerned about Claire's meeting with the princess. Henry wants to know how such a girl managed to win the hearts of this family. Catherine won't let him find out anything. She'll take these secrets to her grave. The boy is hurt by his sister's secrets, but he can always ask the youngest in the family. Adam cannot answer his questions, no matter how much he wants to tell everything. He pretended that he didn't know anything, that everything happened without his knowledge. Henry hoped to lift the veil of secrecy, but he failed, and this offended him. Catherine was upset by her brother's conversations. She couldn't tell them all the truth. The girl was reminded that at this time she is usually not sitting still and is busy preparing for the celebration. Catherine had completely forgotten that she had the responsibility of preparing for the evening. This had never happened to her before. His ears started bleeding from his sister's scream, and now he wondered what she and Claire would wear to the party. The girl had seen the princess in different states, but she had never seen such hysteria. Henry protected his brother's tender ears. He didn't need to listen to the girl's desperate cries. Catherine has no time at all to prepare the girl for going out. Claire realized how scary the phrase about not having enough time could be. She would suffer for 4 days. The boys stood aside while the girls packed and checked off each option they selected. The princess couldn't find a suitable dress for Claire. She didn't like anything. Claire didn't have the strength to try on all these clothes. She, like the maids, had never been so tired. The girl had missed a lot of time to prepare properly. Now there was little she could do to fix it. Her brothers could not help her. Catherine could not contain her anger. She did not like anything. Her disaster was approaching. The maid promises to bring dresses from another workshop. She must make sure that they are normal. Henry didn't understand the problem when he liked the dresses shown. He didn't see anything terrible in them. Catherine didn't ask his opinion. She would tear him to pieces if he said another word. The boy and his brother will remain silent. They don't want to get into trouble. The princess will do everything to ensure that her new sister amazes everyone at this evening. They don't have time for a custom order. The girl must make her choice as soon as possible. Claire herself agreed to take part in this. She expects insults towards herself because she is unworthy of being near the prince. The girl is an outsider in this world. Everyone will laugh at her at the event. The Duke is obliged to come to this event, where he will meet a girl who has not stopped dreaming about him. Before the event began, it was important for the girl to turn to the gods. Ava heard about the second prince's intentions to marry a girl from another society. Everyone in her house was discussing the status of the bride chosen for the prince. Some were sure that the family's position in society was not so important. She heard that the girl had moved to the prince's palace and that their relationship was developing quickly. Ava thought about the guy. She couldn't imagine anyone else but him. Claire is 100% prepared for this evening. She will knock everyone out. She just needs to finish a few details so she can go out in perfect condition. The family gathered in advance, waiting for the last person to show up so that they could all go to the event together. The girl was beautiful, but because of this she felt awkward. Everyone would pay attention to her. Adam could not stand aside at the sight of such beauty. He showered the girl with compliments and instilled in her confidence. Catherine didn't waste her last nerves searching for the perfect dress in vain. She created a masterpiece with her own hands. She told Claire in advance how good she was so that she would stop ruining herself. Claire needs to be confident this evening. This is her chance to show the world her beauty. Henry had no doubt that his little sister would succeed. They would go to the banquet with the most beautiful girl. Claire liked being in this state. She felt much better compared to life in her own home. The princess sees that Henry cannot take his eyes off the girl. Her charm has touched him. He didn't deny the obvious. He liked looking at such a confident girl. Catherine will be turning heads in this look and will be the center of attention. The prince would not have wasted time and would have started courting her if his brother had not gotten ahead of him, which did not please Catherine. She is ready to accompany Claire so that no stranger will approach her. The princess was preparing her for another guy. Adam didn't pay attention to the squabbles between his relatives because he saw another brother of his. Ryan waited patiently for the girl to come out to him. He had put on his best suit for the event. He knows how much effort his sister spent to create something amazing, and he liked what he saw. Claire really looked amazing. She would steal the show at the banquet. All of Ryan's expectations were not met. He saw her even more beautiful. The beauty of the girl in front of him cannot be described in words. Catherine knew how beautiful her sister was, and with her own efforts she was able to make her much more beautiful. A guy will be happy to accompany such a girl. It is a great honor for him. It was hard for the girl to give him an answer. She didn't want to offend him. She hid from everyone that she didn't really want to go there. This feeling was eating her up from the inside. Catherine was so happy to look at the girl that she had no right to run away from her. Claire will follow the guy. She will be happy to keep him company this evening. The hall was filled with people, dressed to the nines to show off the wealth of their home. The girls discussed the second prince's bride and praised her appearance with dignity. The boys remembered Claire's affair with the Duke. These rumors did not let them go. Claire was able to hide from the crowd. She couldn't stay among people for long. She was tired. The girl did not expect that this evening would be so difficult. The girl believes that at some point her partner will find a moment to take a break. He is constantly surrounded by people. Everyone wanted to get some time near him. The saint is supposed to appear here. Everyone is talking about her silver hair and incredible blue eyes. Claire amused herself by looking at the guests at the event. At some point, a familiar back caught her eye. She recognized him among 1,000. The girl's breath caught in her throat as she realized that she had seen her beloved. Claire must not disappoint the princess. She needs to pull herself together and let go of her old feelings. She couldn't control herself. She wanted to look at him one last time. The girl didn't pay attention to the crowd. She pushed everyone in her path. The guy was so close and so far at the same time. Claire wants to feel the same thrill she felt when she was around him. She ran quickly after him. Ryan suddenly appeared in front of her to stop her. The girl could not explain herself to him. She was ashamed of her behavior. Ryan can't leave his bride alone. He will accompany her wherever possible. The girl wanted to avoid communicating with him so as not to fall in his eyes. He saw how she was in a hurry and wanted to know what caused such a reaction. The couple should act less suspicious because everyone is looking at them. Catherine made a noise while looking at them. The princess was watching them. For her sake, they had to control themselves. The girl did a complete mess. She gave in to her emotions and ruined everything that had been built for a long time. Ryan suggested that she pretend to be sick and leave this place. No one would suspect them. Ava appeared at the banquet when the couple was close to leaving. Richard was in love with her, and because of her, he could no longer stay with Claire. The guy didn't take the girl's feelings into account. It was important for him to find his love. He came here with the saint. The guy was worried about her while she was not around. Ryan and Claire are not interesting when the Duke and the saint are sorting out their feelings. The girl had never seen Richard so happy. He had never looked at her with such eyes. Richard was a different person next to the saint. He opened up in a new way. Claire saw in him a man who was truly in love. Ava can help the girl. She saw that she felt bad. A girl shouldn't cry. She needs to retain at least some of her dignity. She felt weak and ashamed in front of the guy for seeing her in such a state. Ava can heal any place that hurts a girl. The Duke stopped the girl. She should not impose her help. Ryan is capable of taking care of his fiancé himself. There is no need to worry about that. Ava wanted to help with all her heart, but she was rejected. It hurt her. The Duke had not met the prince for a long time. They only saw each other at large events. Richard greeted the prince with all due respect, as etiquette required, despite his personal relationship with him. Claire could hardly contain herself, thanks to the guy she was able to hide from everyone's attention. Ryan didn't look like himself. His gaze had changed. His voice had a steely edge. She had never seen him in such a state. Claire did not recognize him. The guy didn't change his attitude towards the girl. He looked at her just as warmly. Ava may not be able to introduce herself. There is not a person on the continent who does not know her. The girl had heard a lot about His Highness in her area. It was an honor for her to meet him personally. Ryan wished her with all his heart a good time in the Empire. The couple regretfully have to leave, but they are not going to let the girl go without first aid. Ava can't let them go without her help, even though no one needs it. The guy should take Claire to a quiet place. They don't need any more help. As they left, Ryan wished them a good time. They could not stay there any longer. Ava can't calm down because she was left aside. She always came first. Richard glanced at Claire before she left. The girl got what she wanted. The guy doesn't like her, just like he doesn't like the saint's interest in the prince. At the banquet, many people paid attention to this collision. They remembered every detail. The couple almost left the premises, but they were stopped, and they were not allowed to leave the event. Richard was shocked by his companion's behavior. She was not interested in him. Ava will not let the prince go until she hears the treasured words. The prince doesn't know what they want to hear from him. He doesn't like this attitude towards him. Catherine will not allow anyone to touch her brother. She will protect him from any girl. She wants to get an explanation for the saint's behavior. She is not touched by the girl's pity. The princess was protecting her family. Everything was fine until she heard a scream. Henry rushed towards his sister, pushing everyone aside to get to her as quickly as possible. He shamed her for being so rude to the saint. She should be ashamed of her behavior. The prince apologized on his own behalf when Catherine did not make excuses for herself. Ava doesn't fully understand what's happening. She expected this evening to go differently. Catherine listened attentively to the saint and was surprised by her manner of speech. It seems that only she sensed the catch. No one else paid attention to these details. The princess realized that the person standing in front of her was a man from Korea. She immediately drew attention to this. In response, Ava became embarrassed. It was a sharp attack on her. Henry tried to calm his sister down. She shouldn't offend this evening's guest. Ava was fine. She didn't want the princess to be scolded because of her. Catherine saw how the girl played her role and did not break it. She felt disgusted standing next to this girl. Ava quietly tried to calm the princess down so that they would not embarrass themselves even more. The princess was not going to remain silent when her brother was approached in front of his fiancé. Ava must communicate with the person who is standing next to her. The girl doesn't like that the child speaks to her in such a tone. The boys and Claire did not understand what the ladies were talking about in a different language. Catherine claimed that age did not affect mental qualities. Ava was shocked to find that the person standing in front of her was a teenager. For the princess, it was her granny who stood in front of her, and she had no intention of respecting her. The saint started shouting she doesn't like hearing insults directed at her. She said too much. Everyone held their breath. Catherine didn't expect to hear the saint's confession about her different gender. She doesn't know what to say to that. Ava felt uneasy and regretted that she had not been able to shut up in time. Everyone paid attention to her. Everyone heard her confession. She apologized to everyone who was there for her breakdown. The girl shouldn't have taken it out on the princess. Ava can't stay here any longer. Tears are choking her. Claire watched the retreating backs of the saint and the duke. She could not say anything to him in farewell. The brothers wanted to know what and in what language Catherine spoke, and she brought the saint to tears. They tried for a long time to get an answer from her until they got a strange reaction. Catherine couldn't believe that the famous saint was actually a guy. She fell to the floor in hysterics, and the boys couldn't help her. Her stomach hurt from laughing, and the girl couldn't calm down from the realization of reality. Her mother approached her during her hysteria. She didn't like her daughter's behavior. She pierced the princes with her gaze. They did not keep an eye on their sister and became guilty of her behavior. Adam didn't understand why his sister was behaving so strangely. Her behavior was not explained to him. It frightened him. Henry pretended that his sister felt ill, but like a good brother, he would take her home so that she could properly rest after the banquet. They asked their mother not to worry. The brothers will explain everything later. Clara won't stay here alone. She'll go after the guys. Rachel is unhappy with her children's behavior, but she will teach them manners later. Ava said too much, she told her secret, and for this she will face problems. They were left alone. They needed to discuss what happened at the banquet. Catherine heard that everyone wanted to talk to her, but she couldn't bring herself to do it. The brothers began to believe that the princess had gone mad. They could not get a clear word from her. Catherine needs to stop laughing. She needs a glass of water to calm down and continue the conversation. The guys had a lot of questions they wanted answered today. The girl needed a minute to explain everything. The water brought her back to her senses. She had never laughed for so long in her life. Henry waits too long for the princess to speak, and soon he will pass out from the long wait. Catherine pretended that she was speaking to the saint in an ancient language that not everyone knows today. The boy doesn't believe that his sister, who doesn't read books, knows something that he doesn't know. The girl will not say anything if she is bullied. Ryan reassured his brother that they had to behave well to hear an explanation. Catherine had learned this language as a child, so she answered without thinking. She herself did not expect that she would be able to talk to the saint. The boys have heard part of the story, and they are not going to stop there. The girl said that she asked him not to flirt with her brother, which caused the saint to burst into tears and run away. The brothers need to teach the princess some manners, but for now, they don't know what to do with her behavior. Henry is worried that this meeting could ruin the relationship between the imperial family and the Holy Kingdom. The princess didn't care. She didn't see anything important in this relationship. Ryan looked at this situation from a political perspective. He did not want this meeting to become a reason for aggression on the part of the kingdom. The boy heard from the girl that he didn't have to worry because the kingdom needed his help. Catherine couldn't have known about this. She let it slip. Ryan thought Henry had told her everything, but he wasn't stupid enough to discuss the topic with his sister. The prince wants to know how Catherine learned the true state of the kingdom. The princess liked this situation. She liked how her words influenced those around her. Claire doubted that she should be in the middle of a family squabble. She wanted to go back to her room. Catherine admitted that she heard all this from her mother in the hallway. She overheard her and promises not to tell this secret to anyone. Ryan thinks that his sister will have to apologize for everything she said to the saint in order to avoid conflict. The girl did not refuse. She agreed to this proposal. Everyone was surprised that Catherine agreed to apologize so quickly. They couldn't take their eyes off her. Catherine thought that her words were being doubted, and this guess angered her. Henry believes his sister. He has never seen her do anything she was asked to do. She was warned that her mother and father might call her for a private conversation, and that she should think about her behavior. Henry doesn't believe that their conversation is over. He doesn't want to go to his chambers to rest. Claire needs to rest too. She has nothing else to do here. Ryan will discuss everything another time. Today he will not discuss anyone else. The guy could hardly contain his anger. He decided to leave early before he lost his temper. The brothers said goodbye to the ladies so that they could go to bed. Claire wasn't surprised by the guy's changed mood. She had ruined an important evening for him. Catherine saw that her little sister began to gnaw at herself from the inside. She did not want her loved one to blame himself for what happened. She wanted to calm the girl down so that the bad thoughts would leave her. Claire didn't understand the reason for such a violent reaction. She didn't say anything to her. Catherine wants to know if the girl really wanted to talk to Richard at the banquet, which is why she was acting strange. The girl did not expect to hear that she wanted to leave the prince and go to the duke. The princess reminded her of the promise that could not be broken. Catherine would not tolerate any deviation from the plan. Claire couldn't answer her. The princess continued to press her for an explanation of her actions. She wants to hear the truth from the girl. For Catherine, it was important. The girl could not find the words to explain everything to the princess. It was difficult for her to admit to herself what she wanted to do. Claire decided to tell about the gorgeous and deep pond near the palace, but she just can't swim. A picture appeared in the girl's head of a princess going on a picnic near a pond, how her leg accidentally twisted and she began to drown. She felt scared at the very thought of it. The girl couldn't allow this to happen. Claire is ready to say anything, just so that Catherine does not go for a walk alone. This blackmail scared her to death. At night, the palace was engulfed in flames. No one could escape from it. Claire didn't understand what was happening or who had caused this disaster until she looked up at the sky. Catherine lost her temper. All her anger spilled out on this house. She will not leave anyone alone. The Duke was captured. He could not escape from the clutches of the princess. His life was on the line. Claire couldn't influence the princess in any way. She tried to stop her sister, but no one heard her. The girl was wrong. She doesn't want this guy to suffer because of her words, which were not said seriously. She could watch what was happening from the sidelines. Her powers would not help here. It's her turn to be trapped. She can't escape the hand. The girl was to blame for everything. She didn't want peaceful people to suffer because of her. The hand suddenly let go of her. The girl will not be touched. Catherine left her alone. She will find a better victim for herself. Claire was left all alone, unable to hold back her tears at her pitiful situation. The girl doesn't want to be alone. She wants to be part of something bigger, just so she doesn't have to spend her whole life alone. It was a dream. She woke up in sweat and tears. The girl lived her worst nightmare. Adam was next to her. He was worried about the girl's condition. Claire was not sleeping alone in her sleep. Catherine was saying terrible things. Adam wanted to know what was happening here without him. The girl had a very strange dream. She thinks that it was influenced by the prince's threats and the princess herself with her blackmail. Adam is a grown-up boy, so he doesn't need a nanny to get up early. He is responsible for himself. Claire couldn't resist his charm. He was too cute. She felt like she had done something wrong because the younger prince moved away from her. He rushed to hug her when Claire apologized for her rudeness. Adam liked the way his daughter-in-law stroked his head, and he likes her more and more every day. Claire was shocked by his revelation and his appearance. She couldn't take her eyes off him. She remembered how Catherine had advertised her older brother by showing her younger brother, whom she could see every day. This proposal turned out to be wonderful. With Adam, the morning became more beautiful. Now Claire doesn't understand how she could have given up time with such people. They were invited to breakfast. Adam wants his daughter-in-law to go with him. Catherine was lifted out of bed without being allowed to sleep any longer. She fell asleep at the table. She doesn't want to be a good princess to please anyone. She should be loved by everyone in any condition. Claire asks her sister to stop teasing the prince before he takes her words to heart and starts crying. The princess was joking. Her words should not be taken seriously. The girl wants to call the princess by her name, since the prince asked her to do the same. Catherine loves being addressed that way and asks people to continue calling her that. She likes that they have a warm relationship. Henry appeared in the room. He was surprised to see the girls so energetic. He said that he decided to stay home for a while because someone had caused problems for the saint. Catherine said several times that she would apologize and could be left alone. Henry came here to say goodbye to the girls before his departure north. He has problems at the border. He needs to hurry, so he can't stay here even for a day. Claire remembered the prince's words that they would discuss everything next time, but one of the brothers was already leaving. The guy asks the girl to take care of herself and keep their conversation a secret. No one should know about their family squabbles. The guy is not worried about her. He has a good impression of the girl. He wants to get to know her better. Catherine saw his departure as the calm before the storm, and her own thoughts alarmed her. Claire and Adam decided not to interfere with the princess, speaking the ancient language. They didn't want to anger her. The princess said a lot of incomprehensible things. Her head was filled with different thoughts. The girl still hasn't given her sister a normal answer to her question. She has to come up with something. The prince at the banquet realized what the girl was about to do and stopped her. The princess must have been as disappointed in her as her older brother. Claire shouldn't have run to the duke like that in front of everyone. For a long time, she could not accept for herself that in fact she meant nothing in Richard's life. He had another girl in his heart. Catherine noticed that her sister was deep in thought. She wanted to know what had captivated her so much. Claire didn't notice how the princess addressed her. She listened to everything that was said to her. The princess wants to explore the capital because they didn't succeed last time. She gave a tour of the yard. The girl showed how to get to the desired place. Claire couldn't keep up with her. They had a busy schedule that she didn't realize. Catherine wanted to show her the greenhouse. Her mother had brought many interesting plants there. Claire doubted that she was allowed to be here. Claire did not see a problem with this. She showed her everything that was in the palace. This wasn't the first time the girl had walked down the corridor. She noticed how many pictures were hung on the walls. She thought that the Empress was interested in painting, since there were so many different works here. Claire hadn't noticed them before, but she saw a new set. New paintings appeared on the wall that few people knew about. The girl could not take her eyes off them. She saw in them a flower of extraordinary beauty. Some say that this flower disappeared due to human greed. Others doubt its existence, and the debate about this has not subsided for several years. Arcadia has always captured attention with its beauty. Claire noticed that the paintings were arranged in a certain order. She saw a complete picture. She believed that this way of breaking down the image of a flower into its component paintings was the best way to reveal all its beauty. The girl spent a lot of effort on composing this composition. She did not understand how her work could have ended up here. She was informed that the author of the paintings was the Empress's favorite artist. Catherine heard how her mother had gone to great lengths to retrieve the paintings from the auction. The woman had difficulty remembering the artist's name when the princess asked her. Claire thought she would hear her name, but it wasn't her. The woman told how critics highly praised the work of one countess and how she became famous among noble society. Claire remembered how Miranda asked her to fulfill the order of this countess. Her work was brazenly stolen. The girl deliberately did this work in such a way that no one would buy it. Isaac saw what she was drawing and mocked her. He didn't see anything special in those colors. Without anyone asking what she wanted, Isaac suggested that his grandmother collect all the flower paintings and send them to auction. She didn't like these training pictures. She liked the opportunity to get rid of them. The girl put her heart and soul into her work, which was sold in someone else's name for a handful of coins. It was hard for her to come to her senses after what she had seen. Catherine saw a real flower in the work when everything was divided into fragments. She liked how it looked from the outside. She doesn't understand much about art. She wanted to hear her sister's opinion about it. Claire thought about telling the truth to the princess, but she had a lump in her throat. Catherine listened attentively to the girl. She wanted to know what they wanted to tell her. The girl remembered how the woman humiliated her, showing her her place in the house. She didn't tell the truth, but pretended that she liked the paintings. It was enough for the girl that someone close to her appreciated her work with dignity. Claire is ready to share all the good moments with Catherine. She is ready to take away all the bad that can happen in her life. The girl wants to repay with kindness, even if she has to give her life. Catherine wanted to know if the girl knew this flower, and she received a positive answer. She thinks that everyone found out about this flower because of her mother. Claire doesn't know what to say about the existence of this flower in real life. They say that it blooms where no man has ever set foot, in places with a harsh climate. Its flowers can heal a person if he is on the verge of life and death. I would like to believe that this flower exists in the same way as the saint who is God's guide in this world. She is endowed with incredible power, thanks to which the girl can heal people. This was the reason why Richard became attracted to the girl. Claire would have done the same if she had the opportunity to team up with such a person. The girl would like to become just as desirable so that everyone would pay attention to her, so that everyone would want to fall at her feet. She doesn't want to be the useless Claire who is constantly being walked all over. Catherine noticed how the girl's face changed. She thought that she had become ill during their walk. She was fine. The painting had captivated her, and there was still much she could see in the palace. Catherine has prepared the best for her. She wants to show her how good it is here. The girl will be glad if she can lift the princess's mood for a moment. This is the best option for her. The princess wanted to bring her little sister to the greenhouse from the first day she arrived in the palace. Claire had never seen anything more beautiful. It was as if she were in another world. Catherine hoped that the girl would like it here, despite the fact that the flower was not there. The girl was happy to be here. Every flower attracted her with its beauty. The princess expected such a reaction from her sister, and she got her way. Claire didn't expect to see so many different flowers in one place. She wants to remember everything to display in a new painting. Walking through the greenhouse, she noticed the view outside the window. It was not so beautiful. She saw a palace that seemed to be hidden from prying eyes. Catherine didn't leave her for long. She wanted to know what had interested her so much. The princess saw the palace, but she couldn't immediately tell about it. After some time, she said that her aunt lived in this palace. It was a long time ago. She died from a long illness. She was loved. Her father wanted to demolish the palace because of his love for her. The man could not bear any memory of her. This loss left a scar on his heart. Catherine told how her mother persuaded him not to demolish the building, but to move it to the other side. Thus, the view of the palace was blocked, and its history was hidden from outsiders. She noted that her father had not planted anything around the palace, and had made its appearance less than ideal, so that nothing would remind her of it. Catherine heard that her aunt loved flowers, that the palace was bathed in them. The princess recalled her mother's strange love for the flower. The woman collects everything connected with it, because it was her aunt's favorite flower, and she didn't want to lose touch with her. They say that Catherine is like her. She lives with this thought every day. The parents look for traces of their aunt in their daughter, and they also collect everything that is somehow connected to her. Catherine was hurt that her parents did not love the real her, that they were looking for echoes of the past in her. Claire was touched by this frankness on the part of the princess. She did not immediately understand what to say. The girl doesn't know what her aunt was really like, so she can't understand the Empress's true feelings. She liked the princess who stood in front of her. She was not looking for anyone in her. The Catherine she had was enough for her. The princess had no idea that the girl really liked her. Claire spoke sincerely. She wanted to cheer up the princess. These words touched Catherine, and she could not contain her emotions. The princess was glad to hear these words from the girl. She was important to her. They moved a little closer to each other, and the girls froze for a while. Catherine doesn't understand where such kindness towards her comes from. Claire admitted that she felt sorry for the princess and that she didn't want her to feel inferior. The little sister was not sad because of this. She felt sorry for her aunt. The girl listened to how much pain it would have been for the princess if, after her death, the people around her lived in sadness. They looked at the cursed palace, which was devoid of pleasant memories that they had deliberately gotten rid of. It was too empty here. The palace resembled a blank canvas. Claire had an idea how to change the atmosphere around the palace without planting anything. Catherine didn't understand why the girl's mood changed. The girl felt the desire to leave a mark here that would evoke pleasant memories. She can paint all the walls with argadia, which the deceased liked. Claire wanted to create a flower meadow, but her enthusiasm was dampened by the princess's silence. A second later, Catherine screamed, loving the idea. She and her sister will secretly paint the walls, and if they are forbidden to continue doing this, they will clean everything up. The princess doesn't know who to use for the job. She didn't have a single artist who would be suitable. Claire can do everything herself. This was her chance to show her skills. Catherine liked the proposal. She was worried in vain when a real professional was standing next to her. The girl didn't say that she could draw. She thinks they agreed with her so as not to upset her. The princess can't wait until they can start decorating the palace. She needs a minute to write down everything they need. Claire couldn't help but laugh at the sight of the happy princess. She felt great. The girl should list all the materials she might need for work. Catherine will prepare everything. The princess will not stop until she collects everything she intends to turn the palace into a work of art. Claire was left here alone. In the absence of the princess, she can explore the area. She heard the guards threatening to send everyone to the border if anyone spilled the beans about the girl's plan. Catherine asked everyone to keep their mouths shut. Her mother must not know anything. She asks to quietly collect all the necessary items. Her anger will know no bounds if the order is not followed. The woman reported that the girl's plan was forbidden. The Empress and Emperor would not allow this violation to continue. Catherine is unhappy that they were caught so quickly. Claire didn't know what to do. She wanted to keep working, but she was scared. The princess went away for a short while with the head maid, and she returned in high spirits. She has settled all the problems. The girl can calmly continue drawing. Claire spent a lot of time drawing and was pleased with herself. The flower looked like a real one. She hadn't finished all the details yet, but it was already possible to show off this beauty. Catherine has never seen anything more beautiful. She wants everyone in the area to see this work of art. The guards gathered at the princess's cries. It was the best thing they had seen with their own eyes. Claire was grateful for the princess's help without her. She couldn't have done it alone. Catherine noticed the similarities between this drawing and the paintings in her mother's gallery, and the girl shuddered at these words. The princess did not mean to offend her. She expressed herself poorly because the flower always looks the same. The girl was not upset. The princess need not worry about this. Catherine admitted that she liked the girl's drawing the most, and it didn't bother her because she was the author of all the drawings with the flower. Adam was upset that the girls spent the whole day without him today. He was looking for them all the time. The sister decided not to have him when he was sleeping soundly. The girls felt ashamed of their behavior in front of him. The prince also wanted to go for a walk with them, but he was upset that they didn't take him with them. Catherine reminded him that he saw this palace every day, that he would be bored walking with them. Adam was lonely all the time when the girls were not at home. He did not know what to do with himself. The princess suspects that Adam learned to manipulate from his third brother. She promised to go for a walk with him tomorrow. The girl would show him something wonderful, after which he would forget about all the grievances. This proposal made the baby happy. He won't cry anymore. He was shown the wonderful paintings that adorned the corridors of the palace. He had never seen anything more beautiful in his life. He struggled to find the words to describe what he was feeling, but Catherine liked his reaction. Catherine looks at them constantly and understands why her mother wanted to get the entire collection of paintings. Claire doesn't know how to take these compliments when no one knows it's her job. The princess is confident that the author of these paintings will not be able to achieve the result that Claire achieved. Adam saw a real flower on the canvas and he wanted to touch it. The woman wanted to warn him that the paintings should not be touched because they were dangerous. All the pictures that were hanging on the wall fell on Adam. He was so afraid he couldn't move. Catherine rushed to him to save him from the blows. Claire didn't stand aside. She was closer. She wanted to save him at any cost. The girl managed to shield the prince with herself and took the full brunt of the blow. Catherine was not allowed to see her. The maid could not allow the princess to be harmed. She didn't care about her own life as long as her sister was injured. Claire was deeply hurt by the paintings and couldn't express what she really felt. She wants to say that she is fine, that she does not need help, but this is not true. The girl was in a terrible state. Everyone wants to help her, but the kids are not allowed near her, no matter how hard they try to get out of the fight. Claire was barely able to stay conscious. She couldn't stand this pain any longer. Ryan was there to catch her. No one could stop him from helping the girl. He is always there when the girl is injured. He doesn't like to see her in this state. Sometime later, Claire woke up in her bed. She doesn't know how long she was unconscious. Adam and Catherine did not leave her side. They were next to her all the time and waited for her to come to her senses. She was ashamed that she had again become a source of trouble for the prince. She did not want to disturb his peace. The younger ones woke up as soon as they felt movement on the bed. They want to know that their little sister is okay. Adam was worried that his beloved daughter-in-law had suffered because of him. The girl was surprised that her brother and sister asked her the same thing, that they had the same reactions to her health. Catherine doesn't believe that the girl is okay. She asks her about everything that might be wrong with her. Claire moved her arms and legs to demonstrate nothing hurt, and there wasn't a scratch on her. The princess was scared when she called people for help. She was afraid that she called scammers who could only make things worse. Claire had no idea that she had been unconscious for 2 whole days. She thought that only a couple of hours had passed since the incident. She said that her older brother was also nearby until he had urgent matters to attend to, and Adam and Catherine never left her side. No one had ever seen Ryan so angry. He yelled at everyone who was around him, who did nothing. No one could escape his anger. Catherine wasn't scared by this. She was more scared when the girl rushed to protect her brother. The princess is grateful to her for saving her brother, and she wants the girl to think about her own health from now on. Adam blames himself for what happened. He didn't want his daughter-in-law to suffer because of his stupidity. The girl began to reassure him that she was fine, that she was not in pain. This led to general hysteria when Adam and Catherine could not hold back their tears. Catherine thought her little sister was dead. She had never seen so much blood at once. She asks the girl to never do that again. The princess sees no point in her life without Claire by her side. They promise to be more careful so that she doesn't worry anymore. The girl does not understand how her wounds healed so quickly. She thinks that the priest worked on her for a long time. Catherine had to ask the saint for a small favor. She will not say that she frightened the one who understands healing. Claire wanted to thank the saint for her help, but the princess would not allow her to do so because she had received everything she needed. The princess let it slip again. She didn't want to say what she did for the saint in return. She asks not to worry about anything. Since the girl woke up in perfect health, they should all forget about this incident. Claire didn't torture her to find out the truth. She thanked her for her help. Much time had passed since the girl's awakening, and suddenly Saint Ava wanted to talk to the princess. Catherine will be coming to her soon. She has to hand out a couple of tasks before she leaves. Adam promises to protect his daughter-in-law during Catherine's absence, none of them paying attention to the fact that Claire is the eldest and she should keep an eye on them. The princess came to meet the saint in not the best mood. She showed how she felt about her. Ava didn't wait long for the girl to appear. She was glad when the princess came to her. Catherine has thrown all the servants out of the premises. She doesn't want them to be disturbed. Here they were alone. The princess wanted to remove the saint's mask so that they could get down to business. She didn't hold back her words because there was a guy dressing up as a girl standing in front of her. Ava asks the princess to be more polite with her. She reminded how Catherine herself came to her and begged for help in tears. The girl doesn't want to remember this moment. For her, it was a forced measure. The saint is surprised that they continue to speak to her in such a tone after she saved the princess's loved one. Catherine was 17 years old. She could speak as she wanted. Her status was much higher than that of a saint, so she could do whatever she wanted, no matter how much her interlocutor liked it. Ava doesn't understand what there is to discuss here. This madhouse has started to weigh on her brain. Catherine saw a sick person in the face of the guy who pretended to be a woman, and she felt disgusted to be in the same room with him. He doesn't look like this on purpose. All this is happening against his will. Catherine remembered how she once tried to find information about herself when she moved to this world. She could not do anything. She said she was hit by a truck so that the silence would not drag on. The guy is shocked that the same thing happened to the girl as happened to him in his life. It seems to him that this story was written by God because he himself signed this story. There was no sense in their situation. Catherine doesn't know how to explain what was happening. The guy in the person of Ava tries to explain that there is definitely a saint in this world, so God can also exist. He has shown his power in action, so there is no doubt about it. The guy can really hear the voices of the gods, so he definitely believes in the saint. Catherine understood what kind of story was connected with the saint before that. It all seemed like nonsense to her. The girl's plan to change history was revealed. She intends to follow through with her plan. Catherine will never back down from creating a marriage between Ryan and Claire. Ava recalled the moment when the saint almost died because of the demons invading the kingdom. Catherine listened attentively as the girl who had served the saint for many years was wounded. In this story, minor characters died constantly to show the heroine's emotional state. There was an episode when a demon entered the heart of the kingdom, and because of him, many were in danger. She tried to deny reality. It seemed to her that everything that happened was a dream, but in the end, she had to accept the truth. He wanted to protect the child, and to do this, he had to change the course of history. The guy settled her in his chambers so that the demons could not get to her, and always sent her outside with an escort. He found it difficult to tell his story, but Catherine did not interrupt him. In the end, that girl died. It didn't happen on the day of the original story. Her fate was postponed. The saint was supposed to die at the hands of a killer, but this little girl ended up in her place. He tells this to explain that changing fate is useless. The princess will not be able to change anything. By trying to change history at her own discretion, the girl may harm those around her. She remembered that in the original story, there was no incident with the paintings, that Claire could have died that day. The girl survived thanks to the help of the saint. Without her, everything would have ended badly. The saint knows that this girl was supposed to die before the original events of history began. The paintings were not supposed to fall from the light touch of a child. The injuries from them were serious. This shows that the world is doing its best to reject the girl's existence. Ava explained that a minor character can't break the rules of the story, so the story corrects the mistakes. Catherine, like Claire, are pieces of the puzzle of this story. They were not the main characters. The princess cannot use a detail that does not fit into the original script. Her actions could lead to a terrible tragedy. Meanwhile, Claire waited for the princess to appear. She was gone for too long. Adam did not leave the girl. He watched her every step. He wanted to tell her something, but it was difficult for him to gather his strength and start talking. The guy is worried that after what happened, the girl will hate him, that she will no longer like him. Claire never thought anything like this. She tries to calm the baby down. Adam once got scratched and it hurt. He can't imagine what the girl went through while protecting him. The girl is glad that everything was fine with the prince. She doesn't feel any pain, so she doesn't have to worry about that. The guy can touch her himself to make sure that her words are true. He didn't see the scratch. It was important for him to make sure that the girl was really okay. Claire heard the prince lament that it was he who should be saving people, not him. Adam promises to protect the girl for the rest of her life. He will repay this debt. The girl did not expect to see such a reaction from the prince. She was pleased that he wanted to be near her. She wanted to hug him, but before that the girl asked him for permission. Adam is very small, but he is already eager to fight. He was ready to protect the girl from all problems. The girl likes him. Claire would never hate him. Adam was pleased to hear this from the girl. He wants them to always spend time together. The prince wants to repay his savior in kind. It was important to him. The most important thing for a girl is that the guy is okay. She doesn't want him to suffer because of his desires. Adam is charming. He wants to repay her in kind, but he can't. Claire doesn't want to hurt his feelings, so she needs time to think. She would definitely tell him what she had come up with while they could relax and wait for their sister to appear. They waited too long for the princess. Usually their sister came to them much faster. Adam thinks about going to look for her so as not to waste time. He was not allowed to leave because his sister might be busy with important matters, and the guy would have to sit aside. They continue to wait. The brother believes that his little sister will come to them soon. Catherine returned in a bad mood. She didn't know what to say. Claire and Adam are happy to see her and decide to have a snack while she's gone. It was hard for the princess to talk to them. She was not herself. The girl began to worry that something terrible had happened, since the princess had lost her former spark. Adam wanted to explore the palace with his sisters, but he was refused, which upset him. Catherine needs to be alone and think about her affairs. Today she will sleep in another room. It was hard for Claire to hear this, and she believes it led to her own rejection. She knows very well what a person sounds like when he doesn't want to spend time with her, or what his face looks like at such a moment. Catherine couldn't hide her feelings. It was obvious that she was hiding something. The girl was given no explanation and was left alone again. Adam was thinking about a walk around the palace. He wanted to unwind with his little sister. Claire suggested going for a walk tomorrow because they were tired now and needed time to gain strength. The prince will definitely walk around the palace with his sisters. He was taken to another room so that he could rest. Claire wished him good night and was left all alone in the room. The girl was worried that she might have offended Catherine. She remembered how she avoided making eye contact with her. She recalled how well they had communicated until the moment when the princess went to meet the saint. Claire thinks that something terrible might have happened during their conversation that changed Catherine's attitude towards her. It was clear that the princess was uncomfortable being in the same room with the girl. Catherine reminded her of Richard. She started talking exactly like the guy before the breakup. Claire began to think that the princess no longer liked her. Adam was waiting for the morning to come today. He would not miss his walk with Claire, and his sister would not join them. The girl did not have time to get out of bed. She was surprised by the prince's desire and the fact that he came alone. They walked around the palace grounds. Adam showed them his favorite childhood spots. The maids kept their eyes on them when Catherine was around, but there was no such close attention. Claire tries to get away from them as quickly as possible. She feels uncomfortable being here. The girl did not pay attention to those around her. She did not hear anything. She was haunted by anxiety. Adam follows his little sister. He doesn't know where they are going. Claire doesn't know where she brought the guy. She walked without making out the road. The girl heard that the most honored guests of the empire could be in this part of the palace. Ava was walking through the palace, and in the courtyard she accidentally came across a prince with a girl. Adam saw her for the first time, and he felt awkward hearing her address him. Ave from the Holy Kingdom is pleased to meet such a charming prince. The baby is only 5 years old, but he shows all the seriousness he is capable of. The girl didn't have to give her name. The saint knows who she is. Ava apologized for the accidental offense. She had heard rumors in the palace, thanks to which she recognized the girl. Claire tells her that everything is fine, then Ava apologizes for her rudeness shown at the banquet. The princess's words hurt her feelings, so she couldn't help herself. She may not apologize because Claire does not hold a grudge against her. This surprised the saint. Claire is not in a position to accept an apology from a noble person. Ava doesn't pay attention to her situation. It's natural for her to ask forgiveness from those she has wronged. The girl did not expect that her refusal could lead to such a sharp reaction, which the saint respects regardless of status. The saint asks Claire to never again belittle her importance, and the girl promises to improve. Ava was able to get a good look at the girl, and she liked what she saw in front of her. Claire was a real beauty, and she was pleased to hear that about her appearance. The girl felt awkward because she found herself in the saint's taste. She doesn't know how to react to this. She doesn't think there's anything special about her compared to the saint. Ava thinks the girl never valued herself. Claire was surprised by the saint's vocabulary. She didn't know that they spoke like that in the kingdom. Ava quickly changed the subject. She was sure that the girl did not come here to meet her. Adam said that he and his daughter-in-law had been on a reconnaissance tour of the palace, and that it had been an interesting activity for him. The saint wanted to join them, and Claire couldn't refuse her since the princess wasn't around. The prince became their commander. The girls must follow him carefully so as not to get lost. Ava couldn't stop admiring the fourth prince. He charmed her with his behavior. She is sure that the second prince definitely refused her a joint walk. She was lucky not to meet him. The girl continued to communicate with Claire until she didn't know what to say. The tense atmosphere did not leave her. Claire agreed with the saint's conclusions. She could say no more. Adam drew their attention to the fact that it had started to rain, and his good mood had soured. The girl rushed to protect him from the rain. She doesn't want him to get hurt. Ava noted that in such weather, they would not be able to conduct a full reconnaissance of the territory. They returned to the palace during the rain. Adam took the moment to rest a little. Claire noticed that the saint might be tired because she had been walking since early morning. The girl will not disturb the fourth prince's rest. She plans to take him to his chambers. Claire wanted to leave. Ava asked her to stay so that she would not feel lonely in the big palace. She was worried that she might do something wrong, and there was a sense of wariness coming from her. Ava asks her not to worry. She is on the girl's side and understands what suspicions she might have. The saint wants to know why the girl let go of the duke so quickly and moved on to another guy. The question baffled the girl. She began to worry about the saint's desire to know everything about her. Ava is ashamed that she asked a direct question. She apologizes for her tactlessness. Claire doesn't understand why she's being asked about her personal life and why the saint needs this information. The saint wants to know the girl's attitude towards fate. She is ready to wait to get an answer. The girl admitted that she did not understand what the saint was getting at, and she did not know how to respond. Ava is interested in the girl's actions if she ruins the fate of a loved one by changing her story. The saint described the possible options well so that it would be possible to get a clear answer from the girl. As an example of a broken fate, she cited Catherine. She has her whole life ahead of her, but she can break down. Claire demands to speak to her directly, without innuendo. She does not want the princess to be mentioned here. Ava didn't expect the girl in front of her to show her temper, so she pretended to be scared. The saint hears the voices of the gods. She wants to talk about the fate of the girl, which the gods told her. The girl not only has divine powers of healing, she can also see into the future. This power attracts many because with it one can prevent misfortune, create something new, or take someone's life. Claire may be told about the fate of two people that the saint saw out of pity for her. Ava is interested in strange coincidences in Claire's life when either she or people close to her could have suffered. The girl could not listen to this calmly. She could not answer the questions. The saint sees that Claire doesn't understand her, so she decided to say it a little differently. She reminded her of her connection with the elder prince and of the incident with dear Adam. Ava talks about situations where these people could have been seriously hurt in a strange situation. Claire stopped listening to her. She remembered all the moments in her life when she was on the brink of life and death. She forever remembered the day when she could have suffered in the carriage with the prince. Claire recently could have died when she rushed to save the prince from the paintings. The girl could not calm down. Ava noticed that the girl's face changed. She realized that she remembered such moments in life. The girl was asked to think about the strangeness of these cases. She should think that someone could have deliberately set her up. The saint wants Claire to think about this after their conversation. The girl doesn't know how the saint learned about her love for drawing. She doesn't understand anything. Ava sees no reason to be surprised. She warned that many things in this world were revealed to her eyes. She wonders what will happen to the person who decides to ruin the paintings the girl spent a lot of time working on. Claire would stop anyone who wanted to ruin the job. She's not going to stand by. Ava agreed with this, so she explains that now the world is trying to remove the girl so that she doesn't break the painting. People around her are caught in the crossfire. They shouldn't have gotten hurt. The world made an inevitable choice. It decided to remove the girl and the three figures so that fate would stop changing. The girl saw hostility in Ava's eyes. She didn't look like a kind person. Claire has found the people she wants to spend her life with. She doesn't want people to suffer because of her. The girl does not want to answer Ava. She has a great desire to run away from here and never see the saint again. She doesn't want to believe that because of her, the prince could have died on the day of their first meeting. Little Adam could have died at such a young age. Claire doesn't want to admit that she's a nuisance to this family. She doesn't want to give up on them. The girl is worried that because of her, they could really end up in danger. She wants to make sure that while she's around, no one can get hurt because of her. Claire has become attached to everyone in this family and is willing to do whatever it takes to keep them safe. It hurts her to think that they will always be in danger next to her. Ava understands that the girl is having a hard time accepting the fact that she is the source of trouble. She was amazed that the princess already knew about this situation and did not tell her anything. She understood why Catherine had behaved so strangely towards her after meeting the saint. Ava talked a lot. She didn't notice that the weather outside had improved. They could go out for a walk again. Claire couldn't calm down. She felt guilty that because of her, danger was pursuing the people close to her. She was alone in the hallway until a guy came out to meet her. He wants to know what's wrong with her. The Duke appeared before her. It was an unexpected meeting for the girl. Claire is not going to answer his questions. What happens in the girl's life is none of his business. Richard remembered the girl's words that she would not be able to look at any guy after him. He called the girl's determination weak. Claire did not pay attention to his jibes. The guy is sure that soon the prince will have enough of playing with the girl and throw her out. She can enjoy this time with him. The girl again heard that she did not belong here, that she had to leave this palace. Catherine tried to keep a straight face, not showing what she thought about Claire's role in her life. The girl wonders what thoughts surrounded the princess when she heard who was to blame for all the family's misfortunes. She is afraid to think that they have begun to hate her for everything she was guilty of. Claire would cut anyone out of her life who could cause her to suffer. She would like to avoid misfortune at any cost, and it is worth making a sacrifice for this. For some reason unknown to the girl, the princess continued to worry about her, despite her role in their lives. Catherine was known for her kind heart, so she took the girl in, kept her close, and took care of her. She valued the girl and did everything to make Claire feel happy. The girl enjoyed her time with them. She didn't realize how much she needed them. Claire understands that it won't be easy to drive her away. Catherine spent a lot of effort to bring her here. Without the saint's prediction, it would not be surprising if the princess had enough of playing with the girl and drove her out of the palace. The girl listened as Catherine talked about her brother, saying that he was upset because of her absence during the walk. Claire continued to worry about the princess. She was afraid that Catherine might catch a cold. Catherine herself wanted to remove the stuck petal, but suddenly after her words, a lamp fell next to them. No one was hurt. The princess doesn't understand how the magic lantern could fall, and everyone starts asking about her health. Claire is sure that everything happened because of her, because she came close to her. Catherine was fine. She asks the guards to check on her little sister's condition. The servant noted that everything was fine with the girl, and she continued to bombard the princess with questions. The girl stood to the side. She did not interfere with people taking care of her highness. The servants discussed the reason for the lantern's fall, the princess's strange mood. They saw her anxiety. Catherine decided to leave the girl and go about her business. She made sure that her sister was okay, so Catherine moved on, leaving Claire alone. The girl wants to say herself that she will leave the palace. She does not want to put everyone in danger. Claire doesn't know when and how best to do this, and it's hard for her to decide. She was wondering what to do until she heard a familiar voice. Ryan is glad that the girl hasn't gone to bed yet. They can talk. The girl did not expect to see him under the windows of her chambers. She does not know what the guy wants from her. The prince wanted to make sure she was okay. He was lucky he didn't have to wake her. Ryan will always help a girl. No need to thank him for it. Claire was pleased to hear that the guy genuinely cared about her. The guy noticed the girl's red face. He thought she had a fever and offered his help. The girl didn't know that the colors had appeared on her face. She pretended that she was fine. Ryan wants to meet the girl on the street because she doesn't have any pain. He will wait for her. Claire promises to come down in a couple of minutes. She can't ignore such a kind person. The prince always treated her with kindness, despite who she really was. If Catherine leaves the girl, she will never see the guy again. He will become a distant memory for her. She doesn't understand the reason why the guy came to her in the middle of the night when he had a lot to do. Claire thought that the guy came to her because of the princess, so that he could talk to her. Perhaps Catherine asked him to convey an important message that she herself could not voice, that the girl would have to be driven away. The girl is afraid to talk to the guy. She can't keep him waiting. At the threshold of the room, she came across the guards who were going to accompany her. Claire would go down to the prince for a short while. She did not need guards. They were ordered not to leave the girl's side for a single step. The guy wants to follow her with Claire's permission. The girl doesn't understand why there is security here when she will soon be leaving this place. Claire is afraid that after going down the stairs, she will never return and see the people close to her. She regretted that she spent little time with the princess. They discussed few topics. Claire wanted to draw them, but this desire came to her too late. The girl remembered little. They needed to spend more time together, create new memories. She couldn't fix anything, and in the end, the girl wanted to know the reason why the princess was so kind to her. It seems that Catherine knew the girl from the first day they met, when Claire cannot remember her. The girl wondered why she ended up in this palace. She didn't hear what was happening around her. She didn't notice that she had passed the prince, and it was difficult for Ryan to shout to her. The prince drove away the guards because he wanted to talk to the girl alone. The guards did not argue with him and walked away from the girl. They will carry out this order. Ryan doesn't understand at what point his sister became so caring towards the girl. Claire doesn't know that because of her injury, the princess cried non-stop, and everyone was worried about her life. The guy is glad that everything is fine with the girl now after this incident. It looks like this is the prince's last meeting with the girl. The guy will no longer be able to walk with her in his house. He smiled at her with all the warmth despite her status. The guy was kind to her. The guy was outraged when the girl was beaten. Claire became attached not only to the children, but also to the prince. She will never see them again. Ryan crossed the line. He wanted to make sure that everything was really okay with the girl. He checked that there was no fever. He was frightened by the girl's pale appearance. The guy is afraid that the girl should have stayed in her chambers. Claire's health was good, and she felt embarrassed when she looked at the guy. Ryan spoke to her too nicely. She didn't understand why he treated her like that. The prince came here to ask for forgiveness for his behavior at the ball. He let his hands fall. He shouldn't have hugged the girl without her permission. He was ashamed of himself. Ryan won't make that mistake again. He'll be more careful from now on and won't touch a girl without her permission. He felt relieved when Claire didn't blame him. The girl is sure that she has no right to decide whether to forgive the prince or not. Claire knows that he wanted to help her. Ryan was sure that after the banquet, the girl blamed him for this incident. The prince decided to take advantage of a chance that might never come again. It was difficult for him to speak when the girl looked at him with such eyes. Claire knows what the guy is trying to say. There is no need to explain it to her. She promises the guy that she will leave quietly. He doesn't need to say anything. The girl promises not to approach Her Highness so as not to cause trouble. Ryan didn't expect the girl to say everything for him. He didn't believe it. The guy felt better when Claire said everything herself. He didn't need to add anything. He was racking his brains over how to tell this to the girl. The prince was glad that the girl had decided everything herself. Claire felt hurt that the guy said all this with a smile on his face. The girl doesn't believe that after this conversation, she fell in his eyes so much that she didn't deserve a drop of attention. Ryan knows that feelings don't change that quickly, but he understands that things can change. Claire could hardly contain her emotions. She didn't want to fall even further in his eyes. She apologized for all the inconvenience she had caused during her stay in the palace. The guy doesn't understand the reason why the girl can't look at him. He doesn't have time to say anything. The girl heard everything the guy wanted to say, so she can go. She did not wait for the prince's last words and went to pack her things. Claire hid in her chambers. She was used to everyone rejecting her. The guy told her that he would help her sort out her feelings for that person. That was good. Ryan doesn't understand why he feels anxious after his conversation with the girl. He keeps replaying it in his head. Claire constantly attracted attention. During their first meeting, the guy thought she was an ordinary noblewoman. The girl constantly asked for forgiveness if she caused inconvenience to the prince. While traveling in the carriage, she could not miss the beautiful views. Claire tried to remember every detail. At the ball, the guy didn't leave her. He covered her with his body so that she wouldn't do something stupid. Ryan finds it hard to admit to himself that he couldn't help himself back then. He denies the possibility of the girl's jealousy towards the Duke. The guy had a hard time admitting to himself what really motivated him. The prince saw the girl in his office, and her happy image was imprinted in his head. Claire packed her things. She had a vague idea of what she needed to take with her. She had nothing here. The most valuable thing was herself. The girl wanted to finish one thing before leaving, without which she would not be able to sleep peacefully. Security met her outside the room. Tom will follow her wherever she goes. Claire told them that she was going to leave the imperial palace, and the guards were surprised by her desire. Chad has not heard such a message from Her Highness. She wants to report to her before she sees the girl off. The girl couldn't let the princess know about her steps, so she said that she already knew. She had already informed the prince of her desire, so there was no point in causing unnecessary trouble. The guards understood her. They would not report to the princess, but they would go after Claire. They noted that the girl was moving in the wrong direction, and Claire could not get rid of them. The girl said that she needed to look in one place. She was afraid that the recent rain might have destroyed her painting, but she was lucky that everything remained intact. Chad decided to help the girl and provided her with light. Claire was grateful for such support. The girl worked all night to completely complete the work of art. She wanted to paint a flower because it was important to Catherine. The flower connected them. This was the last thing that connected Claire with this place. She could return to her home. Claire can't believe she has to leave this place. It has become her home. The girl would like to do what she wants at least once in her life, but it was impossible. She thought about staying, but she remembered how the magic lamp fell, and the girl couldn't follow her emotions. The family must remain safe and sound, and for this the girl must leave. This was the only correct option that the girl had to make. Claire will remember this time as a fleeting dream that she will never completely forget. She went home in a carriage, asking the guards to leave her. Chad couldn't do it because of the princess's orders. She didn't want to let her highness down. Claire believes that there was a mistake in giving orders. She doesn't need to be accompanied. She'll get home on her own. The guards must return to the palace and carry out new instructions. Tom sends Chad to follow the girl, while he checks everything to make sure there are no violations of the order. Claire hadn't been home for what felt like her entire life, and she knew she would return someday. She walked quietly up the stairs so that no one would notice her. A man appeared in the corridor. He was surprised to see a girl in this building. Claire didn't want to talk to him. She needed time to rest a little after the journey. She returned to her chambers. The walls began to press in on her. The girl returned to where her place was. She should not have left these parts. The time in the palace was magical. She knew that happiness had an end. Everything crumbled against the harsh reality. Claire is back in reality, where she needs to find a way to survive alone. Everyone found out about her return. Miranda ran to the fugitive as soon as this news reached her. She is glad that the girl has finally returned to her native land. The woman wants to believe that the princess will not appear here again. A girl entered the room. She was interested in creating new paintings. She wants to know when she can pick up new work. The girl won't leave without it. Claire saw for the first time the countess who passed off her paintings as her own. Miranda asks the lady to calm down. Emily has been waiting for several months for the result to appear. She cannot wait any longer. Emily doesn't intend to wait long because the Empress herself is waiting for her work. She was tired of waiting. The girl said many times how important this order was for her. Claire decided to ask why she couldn't create the painting herself if she wanted it so much. Emily didn't expect to hear the girl's voice. She was used to getting everything she wanted. The girl no longer wants her work to be shown under someone else's name. She is not afraid to express her opinion. Emily did not restrain herself. She punished the girl for being rude to her. Claire has no right to talk like that to the one who has been feeding her entire family all this time. The girl will no longer sell her paintings. She will not perform work with such demands. Emily gives her 6 days to pick up the finished painting, otherwise she will stop all financial support for the family. Miranda is unhappy with this arrangement. She won't allow the girl to ruin all her plans. She will explain to Claire who was standing in front of them now and who they should be friends with. The girl was reminded of her place after meeting with Her Highness. She should not turn up her nose. She was thrown out for the second time. She was reminded that she had days left to draw at least something. Claire didn't say anything. She wasn't going to follow Miranda's lead. She was left completely alone. She had no people who could protect her from her relatives. Before, she had everyone's back. Now no one will be angry because of unfair treatment towards her. Claire doesn't understand when she got hope. She should forget about it. She had nothing that could help her leave this place. She thought that she had become too proud next to the imperial family. She needed to look at their faces again. The girl already missed them. Claire stood there analyzing her entire life until she heard an angry cry. Isaac gave the girl a chance to live a normal life. He wants to know how she ruined everything. The girl may not dream of returning to the capital. The guy will take out all his anger on her for her misdeed. His life was ruined. He was sure that Claire was to blame for everything because she told the princess about him. The guy will make sure that the princess never hears anything about him again. He will force the girl to remain silent. The girl must cope on her own. No one will come to her aid. She must cope with the problem at any cost. Her life depends on it. Claire didn't have time to get up before the guy lost consciousness. She doesn't understand anything. The girl was trapped. She didn't have time to call for help. It was useless to resist. She was put to sleep, and before losing consciousness, she thought about Ryan. Tom returned after checking the data. He wants to believe that the girl is still in the mansion. Chad didn't see Claire leave. They need to pick her up immediately and return her to the palace. Catherine was furious when she learned that Claire had left the palace. She would deal with everyone who allowed this to happen. They were deceived. They did what young Claire wanted. It didn't matter now. They needed to fix the situation. The guards came to the mansion to take Lady Claire away. They apologized for disturbing her at such a late hour, but the matter could not be delayed. The man was told by the princess that he needed to return Claire to the palace, and he asked the guards to wait a couple of minutes. Tom is worried. He hopes that he will be able to return the girl safe and sound. The servant reported that the lady was missing and ordered everyone to look for her in the mansion. Chad clarified that there was only one exit in the building, and she was told about an entrance that was used only by servants. She is worried that something terrible has happened and she needs to take matters into her own hands. They ask you to participate in the search for the girl yourself. The guards immediately went to the girl's room, where she was last seen. They saw footprints leading from Claire's balcony. Tom decided to check where they were going. The women in the palace discussed where the girl could have disappeared to. Rachel didn't want to believe that it was a kidnapping. She hoped that it was some stupid prank by the girl's family. They did not receive any information to confirm the kidnapping version. The woman was told that her daughter had not rushed to look for Claire, but that she was in her palace. The woman had a hard time finding the right words to present the situation in the best possible way. They heard a scream that distracted them from all their conversations. Rachel recognized that voice. She can't stand still while something bad happens. She rushed to search for her daughter. The woman was worried that something had happened to her. The woman went outside and saw that the palace was covered with flowers. Adam clung to her, unable to hold back his tears over the tragedy. The painting was magnificent. The flowers looked real. The maid asked for forgiveness. She could not refuse the princess her desire to paint the walls of the palace. Catherine said that Claire felt the walls were too blank and wanted to add some color to the space. The girl liked these flowers, so she painted them all over the walls. Rachel can't believe that the girl who lived next to her painted such beauty. The place is filled with colors again. She thought that her dear friend was standing next to her again. It seemed as if she was about to run out of the palace and the atmosphere would become brighter. Catherine and Adam couldn't stop crying. Their mother promises to find Claire at all costs. Rachel ordered the knights to bring Claire to the palace as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, the girl was not in the best condition. She could not move her arms. Claire came to her senses. She does not understand what happened to her and where she is. She can hardly hear the voices around her. The kidnappers were discussing a noblewoman from an unknown family. They doubt they will get away with it. No one would be able to catch them. One of them was not sure of this. They had to cross the border as soon as possible. The girl recognized this voice, but she could not remember where exactly she had heard it. Countess Emily wanted the girl for herself. She cannot allow her to fall into Miranda's hands again. Claire pretends that she still hasn't come to her senses. She doesn't show it. Joel is accused of overdosing on the potion, which is why the girl is still unconscious. The Countess asks them to leave this argument, and it would be better if the girl slept and did not cause them inconvenience by making noise. She will find a way to make Claire draw. She will make the girl beg her for mercy. Emily will give the girl everything she needs, and Claire will be much better off with her. Joel doesn't see much of a difference. He understands that the girl will be treated like livestock. Claire understands that the Countess needs a picture stamper. The girl will not be able to escape from this prison. She will end up in another country without power or glory for the Countess. The girl is the ideal prey. The girl knows that her life next to the Countess and without her will not change for the better. A low place in society awaits her. Claire is doomed to live in the shadow of the high nobility. No one will know her. She is destined to be a worthless creature for the rest of her days. There is a chance that her paintings, under a different name, may end up in the palace, and part of it will be next to them. Claire sees this as the only chance for her life to have any meaning. Since childhood, she was used to giving up. Help never came to her, no matter how much she cried. The girl could only give up or endure. She had no one to rely on. Now she remembers Ryan. He was there after their meeting, always helping when the girl was in danger. He could have been called a prince from a fairy tale that the girl was told about in childhood. Everyone was ordered to be attentive. They were almost at the border. A carriage appeared ahead, so they stopped. The Countess asks them to ignore the noble carriage. They must not attract the attention of the people in the other carriage. They need to hide all the evidence. The girl didn't think she would meet anyone else in the forest at such a time. Claire tried to listen carefully to what was happening on the street. She realized that the people on the street did not speak Imperial. Heather finds these people suspicious and can't let them go until she sees for herself. The Countess doesn't want to know who's standing in front of them. She asks them to deal with her as quickly as possible and move on. They don't have time. Claire must act because now only this woman can pull her out of the clutches of the kidnappers. The girl's life will not change no matter where the strangers drag her. She cannot stay near the Countess. Her life will end with her. She will lose her name forever. She will not be able to do what she wants. Claire cannot allow this life to become her reality. The girl recalled how people rejoiced when they saw her paintings. These thoughts gave her strength for further action. Heather doesn't leave strangers behind. She wants to find out why they are here. The girl heard a strange noise. The kidnappers pretend that nothing strange happened, that they are not violating anything. The Countess is not going to give up. She can kill the girl if she continues to move. Heather's people beg her to move on. They need to hurry to the estate before it's too late. Claire can't let them leave. This was her only chance for salvation. Without them, she will die. The girl concentrated on delivering a strong blow to the Countess's head and managed to knock the knife out of her hands. Heather didn't stand by when she heard the scream again. She decided to check the contents of the cart. She had heard that the slave trade flourished in times like these, but she never thought she would see it with her own eyes. Heather never doubts her instincts. She always knows when something is wrong. The guards receive orders from the mistress. They must gather all the kidnappers in one place in order to deal with them properly.